What's up, YouTube? Hold on, I'm gonna launch the Facebook in 1 second. Thank y'all for being here. What's up, Facebook? Appreciate y'all. Hope you're having a good December. And I wanted to go live real quick to talk about a few things. The first one is inflation. There's new numbers coming out of America. Let me see. It looks like wholesale inflation jumps up a record of 9.6 over the past 12 months. That's a lot. We could chat about that, why it's happening. And I also would love to hear your take on it because I know a lot of people know a lot about financial markets and a lot of people have predictions. So I want to read some comments aloud and see where you guys think this is going. Is it over? Is it going to get worse? Will we officially hit like hyperinflation? Second thing I want to talk about is Brandon Gutenschwager. His name's BG on the scene on Twitter. He's an independent journalist who does great work around the country. He took a picture recently, yesterday, and he posted vaccine mandate signs for indoor dining at Trump Tower in New York. There's a nice little golden frame around it, and it says Trump Tower, New York City requires you to be vaccinated against COVID-19 to enter this area. And on the sign, it says those 12 years of age and older must show proof of COVID-19 vaccination. And those 18 years or older must provide photo identification. So I know Donald Trump, after 3 minutes of vaccine sales, he likes to say freedoms or whatever. And, Don Jr. talks a lot on social media, but apparently they're falling right in line as well, complying and even putting up signs to promote the, kicking 12-year-olds out of their building if they're not forced vaccinated. Very courageous and totally, respectable of the Trump family there. And sarcasm, unfortunately. And then I also want to talk about the mask mandate in California. So apparently, Gavin Newsom is trying to put a month, 15 days to slow the spread. Only a month, folks, just a month to defeat Omicron or whatever. They're putting in a mask mandate in California. Keep in mind, as of 8 hours ago, the New York Times reported that there's only 43 cases of Omicron variant, allegedly, 0 deaths in America. So 0 deaths, but they're going to force a mask mandate for a month. I hope people are realizing. I don't want to sound like a broken record. I want to talk about other stuff, inflation, etc. But folks, if they can justify a lockdown in March, if they could justify a lockdown with 0 deaths and only 40-something cases, even though most of the cases are vaccinated, they're telling you you need more booster shots. They're telling you need more mask mandates. Eventually, they'll probably try to lock the country down again. At what point do people realize what's going on? I don't want to just keep repeating myself, but it's like, are people really this dumb? Are people really this compliant? Is anybody going to listen to this lockdown order or mask mandate? I'm kind of almost speechless. It's just like a repetitive cycle here. But if people didn't think it was ridiculous before, they're using a variant that has 0 deaths as an excuse to bring back more restrictions. This is going to be like a permanent thing. I mean, I don't even want to talk about it. So it's so basic. But thank y'all for being here. I appreciate it. And I'm just going to wait a few seconds for people to come in. The thing I want to say real quick is if you're still looking for a Christmas gift, I told people we're delivering as quickly as we can. So the promo code last second, it should be in the description of Facebook and YouTube. You get 10% off everything on dreamrare.com. If you need something quick, and I know I wait long sometimes because I never know what to get people, that's an option. Thank y'all. Appreciate you for being here. Let's talk about inflation real quick. India's inflation, it says WPI inflation's up 14%, not good. Wholesale inflation in America is up 9.6%, not good. That's almost 10%. And I really want to know I'm probably going to talk a little bit and then I'm going to read some comments while I can. So if I don't see them, you could repeat them. Let me know what you think, because as far as, inflation, is it going to stop? Is it going to reach hyperinflation? Are they going to be able to quell this? Obviously, the Biden administration is making it tougher because they want to keep building back better and printing more money. And at a certain point, you have to stop. What do you think is going to happen? Let me know your thoughts. My thoughts are this, and this kind of ties into the last thing, why I can't please everyone. I feel politically disconnected right now, which is probably for the better. Politics has been a mess. People are obsessing over hating somebody, loving somebody. They hate their neighbor. They're constantly just watching the news, and it's just become a total mess. So maybe it's good that I don't fit in anymore. But I find that I'm getting hated on by all sides, and it doesn't bother me. It's not like I care, but it's just kind of creepy to me because I'm looking, and I know people that watch my channel are pretty level-headed for the most part, but I'm like, where are the people who are just honest and real and don't just play like a sports team? So the left wing clearly doesn't agree with a lot of what I'm saying because I'm against mandates. I don't think you should be mandating vaccinations. I don't think you should be mandating testing. I don't agree with the fact that even like conservative news outlets are complying to that. All of this stuff is too much. They're never going to stop. Even if it's like 30, 40 cases, oh, we need more mandate. It's never going to stop. This is a total overreaction. And I would say I almost completely disagree with everything the left wing's doing, from their ideas of how to run a city to their ideas of defunding the police, and then they refund them when they realize that they're not the total problem in the state. Kicking people out of bars. The left clearly doesn't agree with almost anything I say anymore. That's like the mainstream left. The right wing is getting annoyed at me because I find that the Republican Party's too weak. You got some of the major right wing news outlets. They're testing everybody weekly if they're not vaccinated. My second story, Donald Trump and his family is enforcing a 12 and up COVID vaccine in New York City to stay afloat there. They have to do it probably or else they'll get in trouble. Republicans, I feel like when they're in office, they take like 3 steps to the left. When Democrats are in office, they take like 10 steps to the left. They kind of BS a little bit too, but we're losing when we're winning because there is no, I feel like, demand from the people to be like, hey, maybe this is a good idea. It's like, oh, everyone's always like, oh, well, at least it's not Obama. And it's like, then we end up looking up and it's like, wait, what just happened? So people are upset that I think it's a weird idea that Donald Trump is leading the party, but he's like a vaccine salesman. Every time he goes on television, he sells the product. The Democrats are mandating the product. They're forcing the product on you. You lose your job if you don't take the product. You lose your income if you don't take the product. You get kicked off social media if you question the product. You get censored and kicked off the news if you question the product. So the left wing is full-blown authoritarian with this injection. And then Donald Trump is marching around Fox News and Newsmax acting like controlled opposition as they're doing all that with the product. Donald Trump selling the product, bragging about the product, claiming the product saved millions of lives, claiming that everyone should get it, although your freedom or whatever. So I'm like, this is terrible leadership. He's garbage. And people get mad at that. And now apparently I'm ticking off like the people who agree with me, like the anarcho libertarian types, that are like, no government at all, which to be honest, I kind of agree with them, but they're mad at me because they're calling me like a statist, and I don't care. I just want to have a convo about it. They're like, oh, why do you tell people to vote and stuff? And I'm like, well, clearly you don't watch my channel because we talk about a lot more. I don't just say, hey, vote and your whole life's going to be saved. In fact, that's like the opposite of what I talk about. I'm like self-awareness, self-accountability, take care of yourself, do what you have to do, take care of your family. The world changes when you change. So you're not going to find peace and prosperity in like slobbering over Democrats and Republicans. We don't talk about that here. But at the same time, I'm not like a full-blown anarchist in the sense of like, oh, I didn't vote. These people are so mad at me now. They're, I don't vote, so I'm saving the world. It's like, that's so cringy to me. It's like, oh, I didn't vote, so I'm doing my part. Like, you're still going to get Biden or Trump if you don't vote at all. It's not like you're changing the political atmosphere. To me, the goal is to get people to pay attention more and to hold their politicians accountable. Just simply crossing my arms and being mad on Twitter and being like, I don't vote, I saved America. Like, no, you didn't. Like, if every Republican listened to you, Democrats would still vote and they would get into all offices. I'm not saying the Republican Party is good, but imagine if every governor was a Democrat. Imagine if Ron DeSantis was not pushing back a little bit against the COVID narrative, or a lot of it. Imagine if Democrats controlled the House, the Congress. You really think that there would be no difference at all, like a zero difference? I'm not like hot or cold, and I find that this is where I have a disconnect with people. It's like either people are 100% or 0%, right? There's no balance. It's either like, I love Trump, I hate Trump. He's the greatest thing that ever happened and he's going to save the whole world. He's the worst thing that ever happened and he's a fascist, And then you have people that are like, well, I hate government, so I'm going to cross my arms and it's going to go away. It's like, that's as dumb as thinking that, welfare programs are going to eliminate poverty and homelessness. Like, yeah, in a perfect world, you suck on a lollipop and you give everybody money and then everybody, starts working hard. That's not how the real world works. So socialism and communism usually ends in big government control because now you have less power, less rights over your private property. There's a communication monopoly in the Communist Manifesto. So in your head, you're saving the whole world. In reality, it ends up looking like San Francisco and New York City. It ends up looking like a trash dump. No offense, I like those cities, but they're going to hell. That's like, it's like anarcho-communism. Anomalies at status because he tells people to vote. I don't tell people to do anything. It's just like not voting isn't gonna like save the whole world. It's such like a goofy opinion to have that somebody will be like, I'm playing my part. It's like, oh yeah, you're so trendy. Go sit in an apartment in San Francisco and tell everybody how it doesn't matter. It's like, does it matter a lot? No. My goal is like, okay, I clearly see that someone said I don't vote. That's great. I don't care, but it's like, I, if you really, I don't know. I just don't agree with like, if Governor DeSantis didn't win, do you think Florida would be exactly the same? You think there would, no, it would be more like California. People would be struggling a little bit harder. There would be more mandates. There would be more, you know, it makes a little difference. And some people think it makes moderate difference. It's just like, no, or it's everything or nothing. It's like, that's not really what's happening. So I feel like disconnected. This is just my little part where it's like, if I'm not like, Trump is my greatest thing ever, he saved the whole world and pedophiles are dying and he needs to sell the vaccine, then Republicans hate me. Clearly, liberals don't like anybody that has half a brain. And then you got the people that are supposed to be like on my side, like, oh, I didn't vote and the whole world changed. Like, dude, you did nothing. Like, not voting, there's still going to be people who vote and someone's going to get into office. If you think both parties are corrupt, I agree with you. Focus on yourself, do what you love, but also you have to be persuasive and convince enough people that you're right. If you're the Libertarian Party, I like libertarians. I just think their party is not gaining enough support. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, how do you be persuasive? Crossing your arms and just saying nothing matters. I poop my pants and I live in like, it's like, wow, yeah, you're totally making a difference. Like, you're really not. And as weak and pathetic as the Republican Party is, they do provide a little bit of resistance. Enough? No. That's what I talk about every day. People get sick of me because I'm like, Republicans suck. Republicans suck. I'm the least statist person ever, but there is a difference when you have all Democrats running all states. Our country, I believe we would be like Australia and Canada. Things would be that much worse, you know? So I don't, it's like, you know, I'm trying to be honest about everything. And I think it bothers everybody. Like someone said, didn't you used to like Trump? It's like, yeah, of course. Like he was doing good. But at the same time, if you follow my videos from like 2019, there were a few things I disagreed with Trump on. I disagreed with his executive anti-Semitism order, which was against the First Amendment. I disagreed with his omnibus bill in 2019. He said he would never print it again, and he did the same thing. I said that in 2019, and people didn't care that much. And then 2020 just got crazy, and I just reported on it like natural, and people act like this is some sort of gang you're joining. Like, if you ever liked Trump or you ever showed up at an event, you must bow down on your knees and agree with everything he did. It's like, no, that's weird. And that's also why we never get anything done, because people act like that. They're like, I either love you or hate you. It's like, dude, grow a spine, be your own person. Like, you're not, this isn't like a cult. This is supposed to be like, hey, we vote you and you're supposed to represent us. And if you're not representing us, we're going to let you know you're not representing us. And Donald Trump right now, he doesn't represent me. So I'm not slobbering all over him for clout and attention. I don't agree with what he's doing. So my thought is, I'm going to say it out loud and try to push them in the right direction or tell them that they don't get my support. Isn't that what everyone's supposed to do? Like, I'm the crazy one because I'm doing what every voter should do, which is they're supposed to represent you. And if your party's not representing you, then you're supposed to say something about it, not act like it's the other side only. And then you got these like other people that are like, if you don't like both parties, you're like, correct. So what am I supposed to do about it? Me not voting is not going to matter. If I vote or don't, like, it's like not voting. If someone says I'm voting and I'm going to change the world, I'm like, no, you're not. And if someone says I'm not voting and I'm changing the world, it's like, no, you're not. Like, you're just lying to yourself, trying to make yourself seem specialer than you are. I didn't vote and now I'm fighting the system. No, you're not. You're just one less vote in a system that's going to put one of the two in office. So you're not, that's not the full solution. It's clearly not. You know, the solution would be, first of all, taking care of yourself. Second of all, having a plan regardless of who wins. And third of all, getting enough people to realize, which is what we try to do here, that we have to put our foot down against the politicians we support. So I just wanted to say that because it doesn't bother me, but it's starting to like creep me out how culty people are getting on all sides. It's like, clearly nobody's like level-headed anymore. It's a very rare thing. Like, didn't you think this was good that Trump did? Of course. And I could still sit here and do like 20 compliments to Trump. I like this. I like that Trump did this. I like this. I like this policy. I like the fact that he called out the media. Even though I didn't agree with what he did in 2020, I still wanted him to win because I think that, gas prices would have been lower. Federal mandates wouldn't have been there. And even though that's not everything, I'm not like 100 or zero. It's like, even if he's trash and even if it's the lesser of two evils, I still think it makes somewhat sense logically to get a little bit of leeway between you and what's going on. Is that so bad? It's like, didn't you go to his event? It's like, what, like if I go to an event and I have to think that everything he ever does is good always and I can't say anything about that's so weird. Like I don't I don't know who told people that that's how you had to be, but it's like I'm like, does anybody call it like they see it? You get what I'm saying? Like, hey, I like the fact that Trump had an event in, what was it, August of 2020. Why? Multiple reasons, but he's holding big events when they're trying to close down big events. Even if I say, hey, I like the fact that Trump, no matter what he says on stage, I like the fact that he's holding large events when they're trying to close down human events. I don't care why he's doing it. I would support anyone doing it. I like a musician. It's like nobody calls it like they see it, and it's really creepy. But enough about that. I just wanted to say, I'm like, it's just the loud minority, but so many people are like so stubborn and think that just crossing their arms is going to like make the biggest difference. It really doesn't. That being said, inflation has reached 9.6 over the past 12 months. I'm unpopular for this thought too, because on one hand, this is like a balancing act, and either people like you like Biden or you hate Biden. I don't like Biden, but I'm just saying like it's Trump, it's Biden. Like people don't realize like from Obama to Jimmy Carter to Reagan, a lot of times they're just passing the torch. Like Reagan did a lot of good things. Reagan did a lot of trash things, including the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act. Reagan helped pave the way for medical tyranny, and so did George Bush with the PrEP Act. These are small bills that they passed in executive orders, or I think it was a bill that they signed that that paved the way for this. It doesn't mean they're all bad or all good, but like this isn't just one party or the other. It's like a passing the torch. Do some good, do some bad. So the point I'm getting to is like when I talk about inflation, people act like I have 1,000 heads because I'm not the total brainwashed, like one-sided person. So my part with inflation is Biden helping inflation? Of course not. He's terrible. He's, I would say, arguably purposely crashing the economy. Like, what else would they be doing? Every time they cry about Omicron, every time they enforce more mandates, they crash the stock market, they scare everybody, they ruin businesses. I would think that Biden is purposely imploding America. Either he's the most incompetent puppet we've ever had, or he's just purposely imploding the government and the economy so then somebody else can swoop up and control everything. So Biden's garbage. I just have to say that clearly, because if I don't say that, people malfunction and think I'm saying something else. Biden is garbage. Biden is making inflation worse. Biden is not going to help inflation. He's arguably the worst person there. With that being said, do I think that inflation was going to be solved if Trump was in office? Of course not. And I know this bothers people, but you have to look at how much money was printed in 2020. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but 40% of all US dollars ever printed from reports I read, 40% of all the money ever printed was printed in 2020. They printed $9 trillion. You know what I'm saying? Reports said like the first couple hundred years or the first 100 years of America, nobody even printed that much money in 100 years. And now you got a guy, well, anomaly, he has to do it because of the pandemic. It's a stimulus. I'm reading all this stupid stuff and I'm like, do you think that the Federal Reserve System, the petrodollar and inflation, do you think it cares why you printed the money? Well, my guy was in office, so it doesn't matter, dummy. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be mean, but like the system of how the math equation of how inflation works, between supply and demand, how it's backed, is there gold behind it, how much are you in debt, where are you giving money to, how much money are you adding to the entire stock system? They don't care whether it's a Democrat or Republican who does it. They don't care if his name is Donald Trump, and they certainly don't care if it's because of a pandemic. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's not like, oh, this money was printed because of a national emergency, so inflation's going to not come. It's like, it's going to come. They did so much damage in 2020. And if you study Venezuela and you study Germany, I'm sorry to hurt people's feelings, But inflation didn't just come up out of the blue. It's not like, oh, Biden's in office and inflation happened. It's like, no, it's 80 years of mistakes. We used to have our currency backed by gold. It's been a long time since that's happened. It's been a slippery slope for a long time. It was a ticking time bomb forever. And then Donald Trump set the time bomb off by printing $9 trillion. And then he passed the baton to slow Biden, the commie. And now slow Biden's crashing the economy more. And what does it do? Makes the left say, well, it was him. The right say, well, it was him. It's both of them. It's both of them. So I'm so tired of following Republicans and conservatives who act like their guy didn't contribute to inflation. Of course he did. If you, and people get so mad when I say this, if you think that printing $9 trillion is not going to cause inflation or hyperinflation because your guy did it, or because there was a national pandemic emergency where Donald Trump funneled money to vaccine companies so they could terrorize you for the next decade, if you think that makes it so it doesn't matter, I'm sorry, but somebody brainwashed you. I don't know if it was Fox News or Newsmax or X22 Report or any of these Republicans. I don't know who brainwashed you into thinking that it's okay to print that much money because your guy did it, or he's fighting the pedophiles, or he printed the money because, you know, he had to. It's like, I don't care why it happened. It's just, it's basic economics. You can't print $9 trillion. It's not possible. So is Biden making it worse? Of course. Is he helping? No. Is he trying to help? No. Is he like countering it? Of course not. But you can't print that much money. So it's like, it's annoying. And maybe I got to figure out a better strategy for 2022. But for me, it's like annoying to be on social media because everybody acts so dumb. It's like liberals are going full blown authoritarian insane. Republicans like, nah, 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 Biden. And I'm like, you guys are so lame. And then you say nothing about your own party. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell's going on here? So I hope, let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna read some stuff in the comments. Are we going to hit hyperinflation? Are stocks going to go up or down? I have money in stocks. I have a little bit in crypto. I'm trying to figure out, and I'm going to stay on this topic before I get to how Trump towers forcing vaccinations on 12-year-olds, which is disgusting. That's the next story. But I want to read a few comments on Facebook and YouTube. What's going to happen? I'm trying to hedge my bet. I got some money in the bank. I got some in stocks, some in crypto. I'm trying to figure out how to hedge my money, and it's all going down, and I just feel sick to my stomach because I've been broke my whole life. I just made money, and now I'm losing all my damn money. I'm losing freaking 9% in the bank account. My stocks are crashing. Crypto's crashing. You know, I'm like, I feel like Chappelle. And then once again, I'm like, dude, I just got this money. Now I'm going to be broke again. I just got money for the first time in my life, and now it's all going down because the freaking economy's going down. So let me know what you think is a good hedge against inflation, because everything I try is not working so far, and I'm not trying to be poor. Let me know. I'm going to read some comments. Someone said the Federal Reserve controls the monetary policies. I agree to a large extent. Yeah, the Federal Reserve has a lot of power, and the banks clearly control both parties because they own the money. It seems that way. Someone said gold and silver, gold and silver. Someone said buy the stocks as they fall in the weight. Someone said you better get out of crypto quick. Well, I don't have that much money in crypto. I'm just like putting a little bit everywhere trying to hedge against inflation. Someone said buy gold and silver. I'll look into it. Let me see. Someone said Bitcoin is the only answer. Someone said bullets and water. Someone said it's not good. It began with Bush for sure. And in inflation, I think it's like a 80-year. Like I said, I'm not blaming it just on Trump or just on Biden. It's been 80 years of mistakes. But I would say if we're going downhill and it was like an explosion, Trump blew it up in 2020, and Biden's just putting more dynamite on it. So I think they did. You know, they accelerated it in the last 2 years. But someone said silver. I'm just reading. Someone said buy land, buy land. You have to listen to Dave Ramsey. I like Dave Ramsey. I listen for sure. He's a good guy. Someone said real estate. All right. Why get out of crypto? Listen, everybody, get out of crypto. Don't get out of crypto. I got money in crypto, not all my money or anything, but I'm trying to put pieces in different places. I got stocks. I got a retirement this year, so I'm not poor when I'm 60, but clearly I will be at this rate if everything keeps going down. I think it'll go back up. I hope so. But, you know, at a certain point, they have to stop printing money. And I don't think the Democrats want to do that. And honestly, I think they're purposely doing this. I mean, they can't be this stupid. Like, you think you can run an economy magazine called The Economist and not know? Like, they're like, oh, we didn't see this inflation coming. Then pack it in. If you didn't see this inflation coming, pack in your whole magazine and give it up, because everybody. How could you not? How could you run a magazine called The Economist and print $9 trillion in 1 year and act like you didn't see it coming? These people are such liars. It's such gaslighting. It's like, yeah, who owns The Economist? That these people are not trying to tell you the truth. All right, thank you guys for the financial advice. I'm sure I'll continue to blow it, but I'm trying my best. I don't want to be broke. All right, real quick, and then I'll answer and read some more stuff. Someone said land. I think real estate's always good. Someone said the market's for the big boys. I know I got to get my money up. This is a post posted by Brendan Gutenschwager. He does some pretty good, like, on the scene stuff. Like, he's always at a protest or a riot getting good footage. But he posted a picture. He said vaccine mandate sign for indoor dining at Trump Tower in New York. The sign says, you can look at it on Twitter, but it says New York City requires you to be vaccinated against COVID-19 to enter this area. And it says, this is kind of disgusting to me, those 12 years of age and older must show proof of COVID-19 vaccination. So the Trump Tower is proudly putting a sign that says, if you're 12 and up, you need a vaccination. On one hand, I completely understand that New York is tyrannical, and if the Trump properties tried to, fight the mandate, that it would be an uphill battle, no question. But there are plenty of business owners doing that, including, Dan Bongino, Ben Shapiro. I mean, any conservative with half a soul and a little bit of balls is fighting the mandate, even Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is more obsessed with vaccines than Trump. Trump doesn't really obsess over vaccines. He's just pretending to for his own legacy. But, Ben Shapiro is extremely pro-vaccine, and even he's standing up against the mandate. Dan Bongino got vaccinated. He's standing up against the mandate. Everybody's standing up against the mandate except for the Trump family, who ironically rushed the vaccines, funded the vaccines, bragged about the vaccines, and made sure when they rolled out that they had the liability shield from the Bush administration, so you can't sue the vaccine manufacturers. I'm tired of Trump claiming that this is a medical miracle. It's a medical miracle. Is it though? Because first of all, if you look at Moderna and I would say history, the government was working with Moderna before they locked the country down. That's on record. Ivanka Trump said it. That information is coming out. So you work on it beforehand. You lock the country down. You have liability shields, so nobody could sue you for injury, side effects, or deaths. You emergency use authorize it and rush it to the public. You start blocking out any alternative medications because that would ruin your emergency use authorization. You buy the product with the government, you fund the product with the government, you mandate the product onto people, and then you kick people off of social media, you fire them, you kick them off of the television if they question the product. This is a miracle? No, a medical miracle would be a free market solution product that's so amazing that everybody wants to take it under their own free will. This is an authoritarian product. It's not like, oh, wow, this is so great, everybody wants it. It's like it's being jammed down people's throats. They have zero liability, and you're not even allowed to question it. That's not science. Science is questioning it. Science is talking about long-term trials. Science is looking at the data out of Africa and Singapore. Science is comparing the data from West Virginia to Vermont. Science is looking at Florida, comparing it to California. Science is looking at the mask mandate. Science is looking at the fact that the Omicron variant is in mostly vaccinated people in America right now. Science is looking at the fact of who the 4 people in South Africa are that were discovered with the variant. That's science. This is not a medical miracle. This is just full-blown medical tyranny and authoritarianism. And I consider Trump controlled opposition at this point because he's bragging. Well, like, this is like the two coins. Like, and I don't know if it's his ego, his advisors. He's just an old man now telling old war stories about how great he was in 2017. But you got the Democrats forcing this product, mandating this product, kicking you out of society if you don't get this product. And it's not getting better. And as he's doing that, you have the other side of the hand bragging about funding it, bragging about rushing it, bragging about pushing the FDA, bragging about saying he saved the whole world. I mean, that's like textbook control opposition. And then you got his son on Twitter talking all this trash against mandates, but then at his own at his own company, someone said he sold the building. His name is on it. So if the name is Trump Tower, I don't care if he owns the building or not. It's his company. They own it. They're not standing up against the mandates. They don't have balls like Ben Shapiro or Dan Bongino. It's not going to be easy, but nothing's easy. Basilicos and Huntington Beach, they never close down for a day. There's thousands of businesses in America who are standing up against the mandate. There's people in prison in certain states that refuse to do this to people. And you have the Trump family. All they do is talk. All they do is talk. But when push comes to shove, they have a golden sign at their tower saying that if you're 12 years and up, you must show proof of COVID-19 vaccination, while their father's on television bragging about rushing and funding this medical miracle, aka this product that has no liability. Like, it's not a miracle. They could do this to any product. Do you think it's hard to do? If you don't have liability and nobody can question your product, what miracle is it? It's a miracle that people haven't figured out how disgusting this is. Like, I'm not telling people what to do with their life or with their body, but it's so great you have to get 4 booster shots. It's so great it only works for 5 months. It's so great the Omicron variant, even though it's killed no people, is getting through it, says the CEO of Pfizer. So you need to get another one. It's so great that you can't question it. It's so great that you can't opt out. It's so great that you can't keep a job without it. It's so great you can't see a concert without it. It's so great you can't go to Madison Square Garden without. Oh yeah, what a miracle. It's not a miracle. It's an authoritarian, disgusting thing that Trump helped ushered in. And he's garbage. So I can't get over what a failure this guy is and what a deceiver he is. How is he going to lead the party? He's like literally the opposition leader who is more responsible for bringing all this here than anybody else in the whole party. How in the world am I one of the only people that's talking about it? It's trash. It's garbage. And he has no courage, no moral values. And when push came to shove, even Ben Shapiro, who I never liked, no offense, even Ben Shapiro has more balls than Donald Trump. And I like Trump more than I like Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro has a lot to lose. Ben Shapiro refuses to mandate and he sued OSHA. Donald Trump, what's he doing? Putting signs in his building saying if you're 12 years or up, you need COVID vaccination. While his son is talking big game on Twitter. Bro, get off Twitter and get into the business meeting, bro, because it's embarrassing for your brand. You think I would ever do that? Of course not. How could you? Someone said Dan Bongino got the vaccine. Yeah, but he's standing up against mandates because it's the right thing to do. This is why Republicans lose. When Democrats are in office, they take 10 steps to the left. When Republicans are in office, they take 5 steps to the left. And then I say, hey, what if we walked the other way? And people say, whoa, what do you like, Biden? It's like, no. Oh, you want to stop the bleeding? It's like, yeah, because it's not sustainable. Like, if you read my comment section on Twitter, don't, because it's a disaster. But it's like the excuses, I'll just read them because I did a poll. I'm just going to read some of the things people are saying. And it's like, do you think inflation cares about who you like in politics? Like, it doesn't matter. Your feelings about who did it is literally irrelevant to the math equation that decides whether your money has any value or not. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to read it real quick. This is a poll I did. I said, let me see. Do you think the Trump administration printing $9 trillion in stimulus injections in 2020 contributed to this current inflation and economic collapse? 78% said yes, which is the correct answer. 21% said no. So 21% of people are still in denial that $9 trillion of stimulus injections didn't contribute to inflation. Let me read some of the things. Let me see. I recall the Republican commenters talking about how it's a strategy. It works, but it works to a degree that isn't sustainable. Wasn't it supposed to be a kickstart? Either way, they weren't happy fiscal conservatives were willing to overlook. Who was claiming that to kickstart? Let me see. Someone said, yes, but a lot of it was necessary. This year of bills has been a lot more wasteful. Last year, House Democrats controlled a lot of the bills, so you can't just lay out $9 trillion all on Trump. That's true. House Democrats forced some BS spending, withholding votes when people really needed help. So I agree that it's not all Trump's fault, but he's saying it was necessary last year. If Republicans are so foolish to think that printing $9 trillion under the guise of an emergency pandemic is necessary, you're going to get a lot more emergency pandemics because it's that easy to fool you. It's like, whoa, there's an Iraq war. Let's pass the Patriot Act. Whoa, there's a pandemic. Let's print a bunch of money. Whoa, what do you know? There's an emergency. Let's rush a vaccine and force it onto you. And then and this is Republicans. Yeah, it was necessary. Then expect it to keep happening. It's like you're so easy to fool. It's not necessary. There was one politician, one who had the balls to say no. His name was Thomas Massey. And Thomas Massey, in April, tried to warn the Americans what was going on. He said, you're being scammed. And you know what Donald Trump said? He said, kick him out of the party. He said, get him out of the party. So it bothered Donald Trump that one politician told the truth. It's not all his fault, but he's a garbage leader. He is like the definition of controlled opposition, getting his people set up at the Capitol so they can't protest against the vaccine, telling people that if he was president, there would be no protest because everybody wanted to get it, bragging about Moderna and Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, saying it saved the world, saying it's the greatest thing ever and a medical miracle, constantly endorsing neocons and rhinos that are garbage and everyone knows they're garbage. Like this, when are people going to get over this guy? It's so crazy to me. And then they're like, but when he prints the money, it makes sense because we need to print the money. It's like, literally, no. I would be shocked, and I'm not trying to be negative. I would be shocked if we didn't hit hyperinflation. Like if you go to the history of Venezuela, it didn't happen in a day. They did these policies. They printed a bunch of money. They took away the guns. That was before that. But then after they printed the money, if you talk to Venezuelans, I've done interviews with several, like just random citizens, not like people in politics, just citizens who lived through it. I asked all of them, I said, when they printed the money, how long did it take for inflation to hit and hyperinflation? They said a couple years. It doesn't happen overnight. Anybody that's telling you it happens overnight, they don't know what they're talking about. It doesn't like, oh, we printed them. No, they destroy it. It's happened over the course of decades. But 2020, I would be blown away if hyperinflation doesn't happen off of what they did in 2020. I hope it doesn't because I don't really have a plan per se, like what to do if the U.S. dollar collapses. But I couldn't fathom that it did. If you look at Germany, before Hitler took over, this is the part of history they don't talk about. Two things. One, hyperinflation was happening. So I don't know who was in charge at the time, but they completely destroyed the economy to the point where people had to take wheelbarrows just to get a piece of bread. So if you want to stop desperate times, don't destroy the economy. It's not like he just popped up out of nowhere in a booming economy and was like, I hate people. That's not what happened. I'm not trying to be mean, but that's just not the real history. So the point of that being is like, if you don't look at steps 1 through 8, it doesn't justify what happened. But things like, it's not like, oh, he just came and ran. It's like, no, the whole country imploded and people were wildly desperate, and years before, the Bolsheviks were killing millions of people as well. They don't really teach about that in history. They were killing millions of people. They were destroying people with their economic policies, and that whole country imploded. And then people were desperate, and they were like, "Let me get that guy." So the reason is like, if people start getting thrown into camps in America in 3 years, it's not like it just randomly happened. Like, oh my God, people just got thrown into camps like for no reason. Like, no, first this happened, then they imploded the economy. Then they said that we all needed to get vaccinated. Then they dehumanized people. Then they justified more government power. It's not to justify what's happening, but it's to like identify steps 1 through 9 instead of just looking at step 10 and saying, oh yeah, it's like, yeah, that happened because all these things happened previously. If you can put a stop to this, then you could stop that. But if Republicans do step 1 through 8, and then they pass the baton to Biden, and he does step 9 and 10, and everyone's like, I can't believe he did that. It's like, well, next time your party gets into power, stop slobbering over them and make sure they don't do steps 1 through 8, because we knew in 2019 and 2018, we knew they were trying to do mandatory vaccinations. If you look at Moderna and you look at Ivanka Trump's Twitter, they're bragging about doing deals with mRNA vaccines before March. They're bragging about it. So this was like, how do you get a universal vaccine? Well, now you have a pandemic. Now you have an emergency. Now people are scared enough to accept something they wouldn't have accepted 2 months ago. If you think that's just random, it's obviously not. I'm not even trying to be edgy, but It's obviously not random. So our party ushered out like Operation Warp Speed. Fun. It was always going to be mandatory. This is, oh, it's fine. It's like, then just lose then. But we don't want to lose. So I'm going to read some comments. I'm going to hang out for a few minutes, but I I pray that hyperinflation doesn't hit the country. Unfortunately, and I don't want to be like a doomer and a gloomer because that's not me. But I feel like Americans need a wake up call. I really don't want it to happen, but it's like you have people that millions of Democrats and even millions of Republicans, millions of Trump voters who think that this is all okay. And I'm not, I don't want this to happen, but like I talk to people and they don't get what's going on, which it's like eventually you're going to have to figure it out. Like if I say that mandates are not going away in March and you say that they're going to go away in June, it's now December of 2021 and they're getting worse and coming back. I don't predict history. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. They're not going away. This is all here. It's the same with like inflation. Like, oh, it's a good idea to do what we're doing. You say that now, but if you need a wheelbarrow to buy bread in 6 months, you're going to be wondering how this all, it happened because you allowed it to happen. It happened because your politicians sold you out. It happened because both parties are lying. It happened because the Federal Reserve has been setting us up for 50, 60, 70 years. And it also happened because as it was happening, everybody just wanted to play the safe route. It's not a safe route. There's nothing safe about hyperinflation. That's why I said this stuff a year ago. That's why I challenged Trump. I don't do it to be edgy. I don't do it for myself. Like there's nothing, oh, Anomaly, you're so brave. No, not really. Like what's so it's scarier to be at a company right now. I mean, yeah, I'm not a softie, but like I don't see it as what I'm doing. Like I appreciate people like, dude, that's so brave. Like if you don't start doing what I'm doing, you're going to have a wheelbarrow or really a credit card nowadays because we have, digital cash, but you're not going to be able to afford anything. So there's nothing like that revolutionary about what I'm doing. It's like, this is not safe. What you're doing is not safe. Like what I'm doing is safer than what you're doing. Oh my God, that must be so tough. No, it's a lot tougher if you guys keep screwing up the country to try to buy groceries in 5 years. Like, there's nothing like sustainable about what's going on. It needed to end last June. I'm not trying to get preachy, but like when Trump said, "Oh, we got to close down past Easter," I was more upset than I've been in 2 years. Why? I knew he ruined the country. He ruined it last year. 15 days to slow the spread. If he would have ended it right there, we would have had inflation, but not as much as we're seeing now, and definitely not as much as if Biden was in office. But you can't just shut down the country for 2 weeks. 2 weeks at a restaurant, 2 weeks at a business. He already ruined millions of companies. He already ruined the economy. Then he decided to extend it another month. And then the mask mandate extended. Now it's been a year and a half. This country's screwed. Like, what the hell do people think is going on? Oh, this is sustainable. How? Like, it would be a miracle. You want to talk about a medical miracle? It would be a miracle if America didn't hit hyperinflation and everybody didn't go into poverty. It would be literally a miracle after what they did over the past 2 years. This shouldn't have lasted more than 2 weeks. It shouldn't have lasted more than 2 hours. It's lasted 2 years, and they're not. I don't understand why people are so like, yeah, this. It's like, it's kind of like working out. It's tough to work out, right? It's tough to lift muscle, but it's also tough to be weak and pathetic. Like I'm not trying to be mean, but like if your back's all messed up because you have no muscles, like that's hard. So you do the temporary tough thing in order to gain. I work out, I run and exercise a lot. You do that, and I need to even more. I'm not even doing enough. But like you do something tough temporarily to have long-term gains. That's everything in life. Everybody in America is so damn lazy, and it's not just liberals. It's like I'm just gonna watch this all happen because it's easy. It's easy now. It's not gonna be easy next year. I would be shocked if they can put this under wraps. I hope they do because I don't know where the hell to put my money. But Americans need a wake up call. Like this is happening for a reason, and people are going to be in for a rude awakening. I pray that they stop printing so much money. I pray that Republicans win in 2022, and I pray that Republicans get tough on on the people they vote for, or else they're not going to do anything. So that's my hope. My goal is to get people to hold Republicans the line and make them go the other way. It's Democrats are not going to listen to you, but Republicans, they will if they feel the pressure. They don't feel the pressure because they constantly pit you against the left, so you just think that they're better because they slightly are, but it's not sustainable. Someone said 2022 is going to be worse. I pray that it's not. I'm an optimistic person, but like mathematically and economically, I don't know how you print that much money in 2020 and just expect it to go away. And that's I feel like the half of the scheme of like the government is like they just keep handing the baton off to the other party. If you had one leader who did all this stuff, you could say this leader is responsible and we need to reverse these policies. But the Democrats and Republicans just keep handing the baton off to each other. And it's like a misdirection. If you're playing like it's like a play action in in football, like they fake hand the ball off and everybody runs with the guy who hands the ball and the quarterback still has the ball. That's politics. So it's like, is Biden worse? Of course. But people are like, what we really need is the guy who was there in 2020. Why would you ever wish for the guy who was there in 2020 back? He did more damage to the country in that year than any president I've ever seen. That was the worst year on record for America, for the economy, than ever in modern history. It's equivalent to Venezuela times, it's equivalent to Germany times. Trump was the leader of that, and he learned nothing and he sells vaccines. If you want him back, what's wrong with you? People are like, yeah, Trump 2020. It's like you're not smarter than liberals if that's how little you're thinking. Someone said borders were fixed. No, they weren't. You think if the borders were fixed, it would be like Israel, where people literally can't get across the border. The borders are not fixed. We're having all-time highs. Did he build some of the wall? Sure. Did he build the whole wall? He clearly didn't build the wall. If he built the wall, nobody would be able to get in. He built a lot of it and left gaps that people are exploiting, and Biden's letting him exploit it. Is it his fault? No, but like he didn't really do anything. Like, wow, he built three-quarters of a wall. Now, like, imagine if you had a gate that just went three quarters. It doesn't really matter. I like the wall, but build the whole wall. He didn't build the whole wall. If he built the whole wall, no one could get in. You get what I'm saying? It's like, imagine if you had a security gate, but it was 90% done. What would people do? They would go to the 10% that's not done and just walk right in. And that's what they're doing. It's not Trump's fault. He tried. It's just like, well, he built the wall. Part of it, it's like finishing 80% of a house. Like, wow, that really helped. It did nothing. Now there's record high people because it wasn't complete. I'm not trying. It's not like I'm not trying to blame him for everybody. Like, wow, yeah, we really see a lower number now. No, it's higher because it's like not complete. Someone said we were energy independent. Yeah, he did a great job with energy for sure. I agree. That's why I voted for him. But now they're ruining it, unfortunately. Erica said he would have finished it if he remained in office. I would have, if I would have got signed when I was 19, I'd have $1 billion. If I ate more lollipops when I was 12, I would have more cavities. If I was a lawyer, I would be on television. If I went to school to be a judge, I would be Judge Judy. If I would have stuck with soccer, I could have played in the MLS. Okay, he didn't win, or he's not in office, so it doesn't matter. Like, he was this close to fighting him. Yeah, oh yeah, that's why he's running around television selling vaccines, because he's really just dying to get back in there and build the wall. It's like, if Reagan would have been a four-term president, maybe we'd live in a better country. I don't know. If Obama never won and Mitt Romney won, maybe taxes would be lower. Like, grow up, live in the future. This is like the dangling carrot that just never goes away. It's like, how do you control the opposition of America? How do you control Republicans and libertarians? Just dangle a carrot in front of their face. He's almost there. We just need him back in office. Let's follow him to the Capitol. Oh no, I'm in jail now. Oh no, he set everybody up. Oh no, we can't protest now because Trump set everybody up. But he almost built the wall. I mean, if we just get him back, if we just keep following the carrot, one day we're gonna be free. It's like, dude, it's like the never-ending show, the never-ending carrot dangle. People are, maybe I'm going to eat the carrot soon. I just need one more day. He just needs 10 more. Look at his pardon list. He doesn't care about you. Look at the crimes of Jared Kushner's father, and Donald Trump pardoned him. That's who Trump cares about, not you. I'm sorry. He doesn't care about you. Eventually, you'll figure that out, and your life will be better, and you'll move on, and you'll hold politicians accountable, and you'll stop chasing a carrot that doesn't exist. And then maybe we could actually do something in this country, because we got a lot of energy. We got a lot of good spirit. We got a lot of Americana left. We got the first two amendments. God is great. We just, we still have a better country than Australia. So, we can probably do something if people stop following the dangling carrot. That's the only way. If people follow the dangling carrot, it's controlled opposition. This is all 2020. Am I okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just saying, I'm like, yo, guys, this is like in April, I'm like, guys, they're imploding the economy under Trump. And people are like, nah, anomaly. We just got to wait till November. We just got to wait till January. We just got to wait till 2022. We just got to wait till 2030. Barron's going to save us in 2060. It's like, dude, stop following the carrot. Am I okay? I'm fine. I'm just saying, it's like, this is so stale. This is the story I've been hearing since March. I'm like, let's confront Trump. No, let's confront Trump in April. No, let's confront Trump in May. No, we can't stop communism, anomaly, because we got to fight socialism by beating Biden. Just wait till November. Fine, I'll wait till November, but you're ruining the country, and it doesn't even matter if he wins now because you destroyed the country. But anomaly, the election's not over. Wait till January. Fine, I'll wait till January. You already destroyed the country. You already brought medical tyranny. It doesn't even matter if he wins because you already ruined the country in 2020. But sure, I'll wait till January for you. But anomaly, wait till August. Mike Lindell has a pillow for me if I wait for him in August. Are you guys serious? Trump's not in office, and now what are you doing? Well, we need to fight for election fraud, and we're never going to stop talking about it. Okay, sure, but are you ever going to pay attention to what happened? But now it's August, and it's like December. People are like, but anomaly, he's going to build the wall if he gets back. God, am I okay? I'm great, but it's like, are you like, do people not see themselves? I've been trying to have a conversation about dual party corruption and medical tyranny since Trump was in office, and no one wants to talk about it because Trump brainwashed them with a carrot in front of their face. He's so close to building the wall. We just need 4 more years. It's like, you guys are following a carrot. It's like a carrot in front of your face, but someone's on your back with a stick over your head, and that's part of the scheme. That's how they get you. You're wasting 5 years. If Trump would have won in 2020, he would have done a better job than Biden. Gas prices would be lower. He would have done a better job with the economy, but he did not have a solution for all the damage he caused in 2020. In fact, politically, it's very convenient that he didn't win because now he's probably going to win again by just pointing to Biden. Just like Biden pointed to Trump and said, oh, coronavirus is bad. Like Trump would have won the election. Oh, no, the economy's bad. Put me in office. He screws up. Oh, no, the economy's back. Put me in office. He screws up. Oh, that's just the game they play. So he did so much damage in 2020 and everybody just watched it happen because they like him. That's like the definition of controlled opposition. Like if Obama did this stuff, people would have been freaking out and out in the streets. But if Trump does it, just wait, guys. All we have to do is wait forever. Let's wait forever. Get off the couch, do some push-ups. It's time to get more jacked. Look at pictures of people in the 1930s. Now look at us. We need America to get jacked again. I got no coffee left. This sucks. I'm trying to get too jacked for the gulag. I don't want to go to the gulags. I done come too far to get to the gulag. Eugenio said Trump was put in office to normalize socialism for conservatives. I don't know if that's why he was put in office, but clearly that happened. Clearly people are like, dude, why would you say he did socialism? It's like, because he did? Why would you say he didn't? Like, that's why I can't get along with people. Like, you give me the same exact policies that Trump did in 2020 and put them on Barack Obama, and I would feel the same exact way. I would have said Operation Warp Speed's bad. You should open up the country. But clearly 70 to 50% of the base is like, you can give me you could give Donald Trump Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's policies and they will swallow it up. They'll be like, well, this is great because you put a MAGA hat on communism. Like, that's what they did in 2020. They put a MAGA hat on communism and people ate it up. And nobody wanted to confront it. Julian Assange got screwed over, someone said. For sure he got screwed over. So did Alex Jones, so did Milo Yiannopoulos, so did Steve Bannon. Everybody who helped Trump win the election got screwed over. And Trump doesn't seem to care less. So, yeah, Julian Assange absolutely got screwed over. Look at Trump's pardon list. That's who he is. Listen to him in a Fox News interview now. That's who he is. He's not this freedom fighter. He's a selfish, narcissistic, egotistical, clearly puppet of the big banks and big pharma. He does not seem to care about the mandates. His number one agenda is pushing the vaccine, while Democrats force the vaccine on us. It's not the time to sell vaccines right now. It's just not. We've heard it a million times. No one doesn't know about the vaccine. Even fully vaccinated people are sick of hearing about the vaccine. This has been the biggest scheme to sell and force a product in modern history. Everybody on the planet knows that there's a vaccine. Everybody on the planet has heard it a million times. It's been jammed down our throats on every social network. We don't need a controlled opposition leader who sells the vaccine. Donald Trump is a piece of trash. He's a horrible leader. He's a horrible person. He's a dangling carrot to just talk about himself and keep Republicans at bay so they never do anything. So they never solve the problem that he helped usher in. Does that mean that Joe Biden's good? No, Joe Biden's garbage. But if the Republican Party doesn't ditch Trump for somebody with half a brain like Thomas Massie, although I don't fully trust them, Rand Paul and DeSantis are better than Trump. Candace Owens is better than Trump. Marjorie Taylor Greene's better than Trump. Pretty much anybody besides Mitt Romney and Liz Cheney's better than Trump. He's like the most garbage Republican. Anybody did what he did, they'd be kicked out of the movement. Because he has so much clout, he can sit there and be controlled opposition and force and try to sell the product that they're forcing on you with little to no opposition to what they're doing. He doesn't care. That's why he has signs in his Trump Tower for a vaccination on 12-year-olds. He could care less about you. He could care less about your family. He could care less about the country. He can care less about our freedoms. He could care less about inflation. He cares about himself, and I don't even know what he cares about anymore because he's clearly not who we all thought he was. And I'll keep saying it to make up for people who aren't saying it. So if 80% of Republicans were saying this, I would move on to other topics. Since I'm in the minority, I got to say it to make up for everybody else not saying it. Someone said Hillary Clinton is still free. She has a master class. She's got a new master class. If you wanna know how to be Hillary Clinton, just watch her master class. There's clips of Trump like before he was in office. I'm gonna lock her up. And then at an event, there's clips. I think it was on what's his name, Dr. Shiva video. There's clips of people at one of Trump's events saying lock her up, and Trump was like, no, 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 let's move on. Like it was a big show. He fooled me for a little bit too because he ran with a marketing campaign. He's a genius businessman. It sucks that his business was with Big Pharma and Bill Gates and his businesses were not with the American people. Trump's a great businessman. He's doing wonders for Bill Gates. He's doing wonders for Big Pharma. He did wonders for the big banks. For us, not so much, but his business was not to help us. His business was to help them. With that being said, his campaign was genius. Make America great again, genius. Drain the swamp, genius. Lock her up, genius. But the problem is now I'm starting to realize that it was never an actual thing he was trying to do. It was a marketing campaign. In the same way that Biden says, oh, I'm going to get rid of your loans. Like, no, he's not. I'm going to fight coronavirus. Biden's not going to fight coronavirus. He's just telling you that so you vote for him. With Trump, he did do a lot of his campaign promises, but his main like marketing, like the broad drain the swamp, he didn't really do it. He never planned on doing it. He just told you that he planned on doing it, so people thought he would do it, so they voted for him. Someone said, watch us get Trump and Hillary in 2024. It sucks because I think Joe Biden has like proven that anybody can be president. Um, I think when Trump won, Trump inspired a lot of people like, yo, anybody could be president. And then Biden won, and people are like, yo, anybody can be president. Literally anybody. Like Hillary Clinton's like, yo, if Biden can be president, I can be president. Like literally like Gavin Newsom, everybody. They're like, dude, if Joe Biden can be president, I can be president. There's no politician too dumb or too bad. Like Biden makes Hillary Clinton look like Jordan Peterson. Like that's how bad Biden is. Like Hillary Clinton is awful, but like after you listen to Biden talk, you're like, dude, Hillary Clinton sounds like Jordan Peterson. You're like, dude, she's definitely smarter than he is. Like he somehow made her seem somewhat likable just off of how garbage he is. Like, for sure she's like, oh, I can do better than that. Yeah, a tin can do better than Joe Biden. So someone said, show me how he works for Big Pharma, the monetization. Look up when he got into office, Pfizer and a bunch of banks. If you wonder why he's so compliant to big business and big banks, they gave him $1 million, Pfizer, for his inauguration. He put Alex Azar, who was a pharmacy lobbyist, as the head of human health services. He got $2.5 million from Big Pharma in 2020. He's the number 2 recipient from Big Pharma donations behind Joe Biden, who got around 8 million. Trump passed an executive order for the universal flu vaccine. Bill Gates said that Trump offered him a position as the science advisor. When Trump defunded the UN, he just funded Gavi Vaccine Alliance, which is pretty much doing nothing because Gavi Vaccine Alliance is like, might as well just hand the money to Bill Gates directly. So is like, I've shown this in like 100 videos, but people get mad when I say that. They're like, no, he didn't. He's a great businessman. He made us think that he was fighting the swamp while he was literally taking money from Pfizer. Google Trump inauguration, Pfizer. He got $1 million from Pfizer. And after that, he stopped talking to RFK and he signed up a pharmacy lobbyist to run the HHS. HHS is above National Institute of Health, the FDA, the CDC. Trump put a pharmacy lobbyist at the head of that. He screwed us over that long ago. No, none of us knew it though, because it's like, oh, Russia collusion, Hillary, like we're like, they got us all over the place, and he's just doing business with Big Pharma the whole time. But here's the reason I say that, among many reasons. This stuff is never going to change if people don't address it. You get what I'm saying? The Democrats are bad. I don't think you should vote for them. I think people, if they're going to vote, they should vote Republican. But here's the thing. You got to hold these people accountable. Trump didn't learn anything. He learned nothing, and he doesn't have to learn anything. He learned nothing from 2020. He learned nothing from his administration. He learned nothing from Operation Warp Speed. He learned nothing. So he has no plans on doing better because he doesn't have to, because people like him so much that they'll let him get away with 50 times as much as they'd let me or any other Republican get away with. So that's why I say this stuff. Nothing's going to change until people realize that he's not who he said he was, and they have no plans to do what you think they're going to do. They just don't. But here's the silver lining. If people realize what they're doing, they'll have to stop doing it. When everybody started paying attention to lobbying, guess what politicians did? Guess what Tulsi Gabbard did and Matt Gaetz did? Do you guys know what they did? They said, you know what? Shoot. People found out that we were taking lobbying money like other politicians. We're going to stop taking lobbying money. And that was a great thing for America. When politicians said, oh, shoot, they realized what politics is. We're going to have to stop getting bribed. And that was a good thing because Matt Gaetz and Tulsi Gabbard are two of the better politicians. Nobody cares about lobbying anymore because everybody's so brainwashed by liking Trump, hating Trump. So now they're all taking money from Big Pharma. Trump's taking money. They're taking money. Everyone's taking money again. No one cares about lobbying because no one's paying attention because it's like, I hate him. I love him. So it all changes when people pay attention. Someone said, what president? I'm not here to compare to other presidents. It's not going to change until people realize. I could say George Bush did this or Reagan did that or You get what I'm saying? Are my sources good? Are my sources good for what? Have you ever watched my videos and my reporting? Do I make a lot of errors? Do I not show proof all the way around? The information is there for you to find out. Don't take my word for it. But in order to figure out what I'm saying, you have to look for it and you have to want to find it. If you're like, I don't want to see it, you're not going to see it. So there, I could show you a document in front of your face. You could say it's photoshopped. It doesn't matter. So none of the this is the point I'm trying to get to always. It's not going to change unless you admit it's happening. If it's like if my house is on fire and I say, "Hey, my house is on fire. I need to put the fire out." I can put the fire out. It's not a big deal. But if you don't realize it's on fire, it's not going anywhere. So that's the Republican Party. The Republican Party's on fire. Trump's administration's on fire. He's not doing what you think he's doing. The only way to change that is if you admit that it's happening. But if you're in denial about what's really happening, how could it ever change? It's not just the liberals' fault. It's our fault. You get what I'm saying? Someone said, so Tulsi is just a sellout too. What I'm trying to say is when people realized that politicians were getting bribed and people started pushing back against it and saying, we're not going to fund you and we're not going to support you while you're getting bribed, they stopped getting bribed. You get what I'm saying? Tulsi and Matt Gaetz and other politicians said, hey, I'm going to stop taking the money. That's a good thing. I'm not knocking them for this. I'm saying that came because people cared. If you don't care, they don't stop. If you think that there's someone they're not, no, I'm not knocking her for this specific situation. I'm complimenting her. I'm saying she said, okay, let's stop doing that because you care. If you don't care, they're not going to stop. It's so simple. Someone said anyone in government's a sellout. It's a wicked industry. But if people think, oh, it's, this is the problem with modern day politics. You have left wingers who think, oh, it's a corrupt system, but Biden's different or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is different. Not really. No, they're not. They're just as corny as the other people. And then you have Republicans. Trump has convinced millions of people everybody's in politics is corrupt except for Donald Trump. No, he is too. And we've proven that now. He's shown that. He had 4 years. The country's way worse off. He did the biggest economic implosion in modern history. He sold vaccines. His pardon list was garbage. And now he runs around Fox News and Newsmax selling the product that they're forcing on us. He's garbage. But people are like, no, he's not. That's part of the problem. You think he's someone he's not. You think he's going to do something he's not. You think he's not getting paid off by Big Pharma, but I could prove to you that he is. And I could prove to you that he put pharmacy lobbyists at the most powerful position. Why would he stop? What's the answer? Take the banana, as Yuri Bezmenov would say, take the bananas out of your ear and listen to what I'm saying. The political solution is to stop being in denial about it. But when you ask, what do I do? It proves to me that you're still in denial because I just said it 50 times in a row. It's like, what do we do? I don't know. Do you want me to repeat the same thing I just said 20 times, 40 times? You need to admit it's happening and confront it. Kind of like what I do on my channel. I admit that Trump's doing that and I confront it. Why does it not change? Because I'm one of the few people who's doing it. Alex Jones is starting to do it. A few Republicans are starting to do it, but 95% of Republicans are in denial and they don't want to confront it. So why would it change? That's the solution. Do I have to say it 1,000 times, or do you want me to just repeat the same thing and you just ask what to do because you don't want to hear the solution? That's the political solution. Admit it's happening and confront it in your own party, or else it's never going to change. But a personal solution would be, self-awareness, self-accountability, creating the life that you love, being happy, figuring out what drives, fuels your fire in life and making it happen and enjoying yourself. That's the personal solution. These politicians are not going to save you personally. You still can thrive under Obama or thrive under Biden or thrive under Trump, regardless of who you are. So that's the personal solution is outside of politics. The political solution is stop being in denial of all this stuff that I'm saying. It's that simple. And I'm not trying to be mean, but people asking, what's the solution? You mean the one I just explained 50 times in a row? This is what people say when they don't want to hear it. Like, oh, like I'll say all this stuff and people are like, oh, you have all the answers. Like, no, I'm not saying I have all the answers. Well, what do we do about it? You don't want to do anything about it. That's why you're asking me. It's not like I'm just complaining. I'm giving people a solution that I find is viable. Someone said, "Will you admit Trump isn't the god I made him out to be last year?" I never made him out to be a god. I never said he was a god. I always said keep an eye on him. Last year in April, I said that he was pushing communism in America. So I preferred him over Biden. I gave him a chance. I'm a person that says, hey, he's got this much longer left in office. Let's see what he does. Let's see what he does in November, December, January. Let me see his final moves. Let me see who he pardons. Let me see what he does. And he didn't do anything. So I gave him time. I said, I don't agree with what you're doing, but let's see what you do on your way out. And he did probably the most garbage thing that anyone could possibly do. I can't think of a worse exit than what Trump did on every level. So I never made him out to be a god. I questioned him in 2019. People got upset. I talked about his anti-Semitism executive order, which goes against the Constitution, was a sneaky way to add more safe spaces on college campuses. People got mad when I said that. People got mad when I said that the Groypers were asking Charlie Kirk valid questions and he was too afraid to answer, so he called them homophobes and racist. I said in 2019 that the omnibus bill was trash. I said in 2019 that they were going to mandate vaccines a year before they did so. So this idea that I told people that Trump's a god, look at my videos throughout the entire time. I think my most popular video ever about Trump was not Trump is literally a god. This is other influencers you're confusing me with. My most popular Trump video about Trump was not Trump is a god, worship him at all costs and never question him. It was, I didn't vote for Trump in 2016. I voted for Bernie Sanders and against Hillary Clinton and then Jill Stein in the regular election. Here's why I think Donald Trump is not as bad as everybody's saying. And I went through all of his policies and all of the things he was doing and said, Trump isn't as bad as they're saying. And guess why that was effective? Because I wasn't a Republican that just obsessed over Trump. Because I wasn't just yelling, build a wall. Because I wasn't just being an annoying team player. That's why my videos have always been successful. Because that was my strategy. I got millions of people to go from Democrats to Republicans. Why? Because I wasn't a sycophant just saying I love Trump. I said I actually didn't even vote for Trump. I didn't like him. But here's why I do like him now. Here's why I think he's a better president than Obama or Hillary. Here's why he's actually doing a pretty good job, even if you're left wing. And that's why my videos have always been successful. And you know what? I don't really care because it's part of, the journey. But some of the people that are the most mad at me, I did a debate with some guy that was like slobbering over certain stuff. And they're like, oh my God, Anomaly, I hate you. You're such a bad person. When I confronted him in person, he admitted in the debate, he said, Anomaly, you're the reason I even am Republican and I even like Trump. It was your videos that told me that. So, I mean, a little disrespectful to get all upset at me when I'm the one who inspired you to think the way you think. And then I say something and now you hate me. It's like you went from being a sycophant liberal to a sycophant Republican. And now you're pissed off at me for being the same person I was 2 years ago. And I find that highly disrespectful. I don't care, but it's like, Anomaly, you inspired me to be on this side, but now I'm going to hate you for telling me the truth I don't want to hear. It's like, well, then what's the point? Putting on a MAGA hat instead of an Obama hat and just being the same idiot you were 2 years ago? And that's how people treat me. It's like, you're welcome, I guess, for awakening you, but you don't even want to, you're not awake. You don't even want to have a conversation with the person who helped inspire you to get here. And you're all angry at me. It's like, I don't even know why I'm mad, but I like Trump. It's like, cool, bro. Then don't stop watching my videos. You're welcome for the advice, but this is how people, they're like, I'm so mad at you. It's like, okay, well then, go back and find how many tens of millions of people I helped even like Trump in the first place and take those away if you hate me so much. Because I think I did a lot for him, and I didn't do it for him because I worship the Republican Party. He was doing a pretty legit job until 2020, even 2019. I mean, he was starting to do whack stuff at the end of 2019, and then it all went downhill in 2020, and he never recovered. But this idea that I just slobbered over him, it's literally never what happened. And anybody that's watched my videos since 2016, they could attest to that. I've done multiple debates. Multiple influencers have called me out, and they're like, Anomaly, remember when you used to tell everybody Trump was a god and wave MAGA flags? It's like, that literally never happened. I never waved a MAGA flag. I never said, oh my God, he's perfect. Don't question him. Literally never. Even when I liked him, I was like, he's crushing right now. But at the same time, keep your eyes on the prize, keep your eyes on his actions. I think me, Paul Joseph Watson, Alex Jones, Cernovich, everybody disagreed with Trump when he struck Syria, and then he stopped striking Syria. I didn't agree with him then. That was like 2017. I've never been like a cult member. When he started trying to attack Syria, I know a lot about Syria and I've studied that region. So I said, hey, I told my audience then, I don't agree with what Donald Trump's doing. I believe that Tucker Carlson said that. A lot of right wing influencers said that. And Trump ended up backing off. Why? Maybe he knew that it was the better idea, or maybe, just maybe, if enough people who like him show him don't do that, he actually listens. That's called populism. That's called being a man. That's called standing your ground. That's called trying to get your elected servants to work for you. So I've never been the type of person, not in 2017, 2018, 2019. I just am blown away by how bad Trump got, and I'm not going to be quiet about it because this is what I've done the whole time. There's never been a time where I literally agreed with everything he's ever done and said it was perfect. Watch every video I've ever done the whole time, including my top 5 most popular videos. Probably 4 out of the 5 have nothing to do with Trump, and the biggest one was telling people I'm not a Republican sycophant. I just think the media is lying about him, and it was so effective because I wasn't coming off like a normal Republican. I wasn't coming off like somebody who just sits and watches Fox News all the time. And that's why people liked it. I met people who work in Hollywood who said, you convinced my parents to they stopped watching CNN and watch Fox News. And I was like, I never said to watch Fox News, but they said, you convinced my parents who literally work in Hollywood. They literally work on television shows with liberals, and now they watch Fox News. And I'm like, well, that's not good. But in general, they're like, they were watching CNN and now they're more conservative. So it's like that's why my videos were effective. Democrats don't want to hear somebody who just screams right-wing talking points all the time. It's not engaging. It's not convincing. You know what I'm saying? My videos are highly convincing because I don't lie. I show proof. I try to craft my argument for not just people who agree with me, but I try to act as if I'm always in a debate, not to be defensive, but I want to be convincing. If I just say things that I say, it's like, who cares? It's just like I'm trying to convince people that disagree with me. I don't want a team red audience who just says like whatever everyone else is saying. It becomes the same sort of echo chamber where, iron sharpens iron. Intelligent ideas need to be weighed against other ideas. That's how you learn, grow, and realize when you're wrong. If you just sit around agreeing with people all the time, you don't learn anything. And that's why I debate and read comments I disagree with. It's not because I'm so offended. It's because I find it much more interesting than people saying, oh, you're so great all the time. It's like, I appreciate it. Thank you for the compliment. But if I just sat around a bunch of people like, Anama, you're so great. You're the best. I'm like, I would probably start to become quite a scumbag, So that's why I like to engage with people who disagree. Julianne said, I don't think campaigns need to cost millions. Should be no set amount, no donors. DNC, GOP, select candidates, way less power, greed. You speak truth. Thank you. There are donors in both parties. I think the Democrats are more corrupt, but when you get paid money, people want you to do things for them. Like that's, I said this before, but I want to say it again. Like I'm not going to say what company, but there's a company that wants me to use their platform more. So here's the thing. I would never sell out. I would never allow anybody to control my thoughts or my speech. That's impossible. It's off the table. I would rather go broke and have no platform than comply to something I don't say. So that's not where I would compromise because I never would. But you have to understand when someone gives me money for something, unless it's just like an offshoot donation or a Patreon, like a business, there's a deal there. Hey, Anomaly, use this platform for 6 months, post 3 times a day, do this. Are they controlling what I say? Of course not. But would I do a deal like that? Of course. It would be like signing a deal with okay, you can have your own show. We won't control you, but we'll air your show and we'll give you this much money. So the point I'm trying to get to, when I have a deal, there's a contract that goes into it, or I haven't signed anything, but I'm just saying, you do this, and this. So when Trump gets $1 million from Pfizer, you think they're just giving him $1 million? Like, hey, we're going to give you $1 million because we really like you, Donald Trump, at Pfizer, but we don't want anything in return. No, it doesn't matter how rich you are. If Donald Trump's so rich, use his own money. He doesn't use all his own money. I'm not saying he's the most selfish. He's probably the least in that crappy industry, but he's taking money from people because he doesn't want to spend his own money. Who wants to spend $1 billion of their own money on a campaign? Trump doesn't want to. I don't want to. Hillary, no one wants to. So if he gets $1 million from Pfizer, there's probably a deal there. You think Pfizer would give me $1 million to run for office and just be like, Anomaly, we really love your stuff? Dude, Trump was against, I won't say against, but he was skeptical of vaccinations before he got into office. You don't give $1 million to somebody who's not even a full-blown fan of your industry for nothing. It doesn't make him a bad person. I'm just trying to tell people this is why they give him money, just like this is why they give Biden money, just like this is why they give anybody money. So they did it. I can prove that they did it. It's public record that they did it. He clearly is not the same person he always was. He's the biggest vaccine salesman. I mean, he makes Bill Gates look like an anti-vaxxer. I'm joking, but I'm just saying, like, Bill Gates is on television like a couple times every couple months. Donald Trump's on television all the time. I did it. Vaccine. He sells vaccines more than Bill Gates does. He's garbage. But you think he's just doing this because he wants to do this? I don't know. I don't know that that's true. I would think at some point when you get money from big industries, they want something in return. I think he's going overboard, but I'm sure it's like, hey, we give you this money, you put this guy in office. We give you this, we'll help you here, but you got to do this. There's always a deal. He's a businessman. So the reason I explain it is just stop being in denial. Just be like, yeah, okay, maybe that happened. So how do we do something about it? Call it out. If everybody called him Grandpa Moderna, the Pfizer salesman, he would be embarrassed and he would be like, okay, maybe I need to like have better leadership. But people are like, oh my God, you're the greatest thing ever. And he's like, okay, I'll just keep taking the money. I don't think he cares. That's just how business works, though. I'm gonna read this because this is a bad argument that people keep repeating. Terry said, "Thank you, Terry." She said, "If you realize the COVID crisis was meant to shut down the country for years until a vax could be developed, President Trump stopped them from crashing the world." This is the worst argument ever. I'm glad you brought it up, Terry, because this is a total fabricated lie. This is not based in evidence. There's no proof that this is happening. This is what Trump supporters are telling themselves because they have to try to justify something that's horrible because their guy did it. If Obama did Operation Warp Speed, nobody would say that it was because he's helping the world. If Joe Biden did Operation Warp Speed, nobody would say the world is not open right now. Australians are getting sent in camps. In blue states, they're shutting down further. They're force vaccinating people in almost every liberal city. Where is your evidence that the world is open? The world isn't open. They've already crashed the economy, and they just crashed the economy again with the Omicron variant. So your logic is it's good that Trump did this because he saved the world from being shut down. But the reality is actually the exact opposite, Terry. He helped crash the economy, and he helped justify the continual crashing of the economy. You don't crash the economy to stop them from crashing the economy. You don't give big pharma money and power and print trillions of dollars to stop corruption. He opened up the gate of biomedical security state, which we live in now, a communist Chinese style censorship system, which we live in now, big pharma tyranny, which we live in now, a fragile economy with mask mandates and vaccine mandates, which we live in now. And there's no proof or evidence that any of this would have, it's already lasting. So this is why Republicans lose all the time. They're like, this is how we save it. It's your logic is literally the opposite. It's like the only way to stop the world from shutting down for the next 5 years would have been for him to not shut down and not fund big pharma. Like we're in a perpetual cycle of shutdown. Him rushing this did not stop Australian camps. It enabled Australian camps. Him rushing this vaccine did not stop the lockdown in America or future lockdowns in America. That is a brainwashed propaganda lie that was created by sycophant Trump supporters and idiot QAnon supporters who need to justify something that's wicked and horrible. So instead of telling people the truth about it, they literally tell you the opposite of reality. This vaccine was not rushed to save our country. This vaccine was not rushed to save us from shutting down for 5 years. This vaccine was not rushed because if he didn't do it, they would have locked down for 5 years. They're still locking down. They're still shutting stuff down. It's the exact opposite of what you're saying. It's so pathetic. It's like when the lockdown happened, the biggest opponents of my, and I'm not blaming everybody in this camp, but I'm just being honest. The biggest opponents of my videos in March and April and May, trying to tell people that the lockdowns were corrupt, the biggest complainers, the people that were harassing me and sending me Instagram messages, were QAnon supporters. Why? Because all they do is brainwash Trump supporters. They said, martial law is good. This lockdown is what we've been waiting for, Anomaly. This lockdown, we're finally going to get the Vatican. We're finally going to get Ellen DeGeneres. We're finally going to get the pedophiles. We're finally doing it. This lockdown's good. So because I said lockdowns were bad, they thought I was a threat. Oh, Anomaly's trying to end the lockdowns. He's trying to help the pedophiles. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And I had people literally saying, oh, I don't care that people are suffering in America. I don't care that people are losing their jobs. This is good. This is good because we're getting the pedophiles. That's literally not what happened. The lockdown was not to get the pedophiles. The martial law was not for you. It's the exact opposite. And it's the same with Operation Warp Speed. Operation Warp Speed and rushing the vaccines didn't stop the world from being shut down for 5 years. That's a BS propaganda lie created by Trump people in order to get you to justify the opposite of reality. That enabled it, perpetuated it, he funded it, he supported it. Every part of the biomedical security state. It includes testing, it includes tracing. At one point, it included ventilators that were killing people. All of these things that now create the communist Chinese style biomedical security state, in some ways that's even worse than what China's doing. It was all rolled out in March, April, May, June, and July. It was rolled out. And once it got here, somebody brainwashed you on a message board and told you, or somebody brainwashed you on social media and said, oh, by implementing the biomedical security state on every level of vaccination, testing, tracing, etc., that was implemented by both parties, he brought it here to stop the world from shutting down in 5 years. No, lie, propaganda, brainwashed. It's literally the exact opposite. Someone said, I thought you supported martial law in my past videos. What? Find a video where I supported martial law. I had a debate in 2018 with Praying Medic where he said that martial law was a good thing and he couldn't wait for it to happen. And I said, doesn't it concern you that if a martial law lockdown happened, you would think it's good when it wasn't? And he was like, no, I don't care. I'm with Q for life. I never supported martial law. What are you talking about? People, in order to like hate me, people are like, didn't you wave Trump's flags and support martial law? It's like, what? No. But the worst talking point, literally the worst talking point in Trump echo chamber right now is if he didn't do all this, we would have been locked down for 5 years. You're still in a state of biomedical security. When you fund mass testing, tracing, when you push vaccines, when you give Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson billions of dollars, you buy it with government programs, you shield them through the PrEP Act so they have no liability from side effects, injuries, and deaths, and you do nothing as social media shuts down your supporters during an election. You're not stopping a lockdown. You're not fighting the biomedical security state. You're not preventing 5 years of tyranny. Literally the opposite. Who told you that? Stop lying to people. This is the dumbest thing that people keep repeating because they don't get challenged, because they live around a bunch of people with all Trump. Oh, he saved the world with his vaccine. We would have been locked. You're still kind of locked down, dummy. They're still pushing mandates. They're still pushing masking. There's still a 50-state mask. This is never going away because this is how dumb Republicans are. The only way to fight biomedical security is just doing it all, and then it'll go away. No, dummy. The only way to fight it is to not let it happen. Oh, the only way to stop income tax is to bring it out, and then we'll get rid of it in 5 years. No, dummy. That's how you get it forever. The only way to fight the terrorists is to do the Patriot Act, but they'll never use it against us. No, dummy. Now it's here to stay. Do you get it? This is why Republicans always lose, because there's the only way to beat the left is to be the left. We can't beat Fauci unless we give them money and power. The only way to fight Big Pharma is to fund their products and give them liability shields, and then it'll go away. No, dummy. That's why it's here to stay. My gosh, stop lying to people. I'm so tired of that being the number one comment. If he didn't rush out the vaccines and usher in the biomedical security state anomaly, we'd be on lockdowns for 5 years. It's like, what? It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That keeps getting repeated in MAGA echo chambers because they're too fake to realize that he's not who you thought he was. That's what you tell yourself. And you're like, they're like, anomaly, Trump signed the omnibus bill. He did it because if you rearrange omnibus, it spells bus man. He's a new superhero like Aquaman, except bus man's going to drive a bus full of pedophiles to Guantanamo Bay. It's like, no, that's what you tell yourself when you're losing your mind over supporting a politician who works with big pharma. You can make up any like dumb thing in your head. You're like, the only way to fight the deep state is to work with the deep state for 5 years, and then in year 7 they'll really stop terrorizing us. Now it's like, no, wrong, fake. I'm the only one who seems to challenge this on a big scale. Like, you guys are wrong. Give it up. It's the dumbest talking point. Someone said the Bill O'Reilly interview said it all. Bill O'Reilly is the only one who challenges Trump. Bill O'Reilly is the only one who gives Trump a real interview, and he looks pathetic. Trump looks like a pathetic dog. Everybody else is like, oh my God, Trump, you're the greatest. Oh my God, you're my hero. Oh my God, thank you so much. And it's like Bill O'Reilly's like, why didn't you do this? Do you think? He asked Trump, he said, do you think China did this on purpose? And Trump's like, no, I don't think so. I'd hope not. But no, China didn't do it on purpose. It's like, you are so pathetic, dude. He yells China virus out there. It's China virus. It's a China virus. And they're like, do you think China might have done this purposely? It's like, he's like, no. He's like, no, I hope not. It's like, dude, he's such a pathetic leader. I'm like you should have fired Fauci. He's like, oh, me and Fauci actually got along. Call me Tony. Like it's all a big club. Like, he doesn't even not like Fauci. He gets a lot. He wants you to know, like, literally everybody else is like, throw Fauci in prison for lying in front of Congress. And Trump's like, I actually got along with him quite well. Call me Tony. Like, he's such a clown. It's like, it's embarrassing for me because it's like, we only have 2 parties in this country. The Democrats and the Republicans. The Libertarians don't count until they get 10% of the vote. But I like Dave Smith, but seriously, you guys got to get your votes up. We only have 2 parties. How are we going to let this clown run the Republican opposition party when he's the vaccine salesman? We don't need a vaccine salesman. We don't need a clowny, like, I'm friends with Fauci leader. He's so, it's like, I'm embarrassed. I'm like, I'll unregister if that's the leadership. I thought we were making progress, but maybe not. Someone said he should have fired Fauci. I wouldn't even care if he said I couldn't fire Fauci. His answer was just bad. He didn't say I couldn't fire him. He's just like, oh, call me Tony. He said, call me Tony. I barely listened to him. And it's like, bro, you put Fauci on television every single day. He didn't have to even if he couldn't fire Fauci, he established the coronavirus task force, which was the universal flu task force, which Trump signed into executive order in 2019. He made Fauci way bigger and way more powerful than he had to be. Trump did not have to put him on television every day for two months. And then he's like, oh, I got fooled. And you're like, yeah, that seems to be like a trend. You keep getting fooled. Someone said, who released COVID? Well, I'm not going to say what, because I can't really tell, but think about what happened. There's documents that say Moderna was working on mRNA vaccines with people in 2019. Trump signed an executive order in 2019 for a universal flu vaccine. Ivanka Trump tweeted out in January that Trump was already working with Moderna 2 months before the pandemic and before he was even talking about shutting the country down. They lied about the lab leak theory and tried to censor people from talking about it when, Fauci was in front of Congress trying to change the definition of gain-of-function virus because he was funding things that were, by definition, before they changed it, gain-of-function virus, or gain-in-function, which is taking a bat coronavirus, in this case, that doesn't transmit into humans and making it so it's more transmissible into humans, which is highly dangerous. And every expert on the planet, many of which were in a Newsweek article in 2020, admitted that this could lead to a worldwide pandemic. So do I know who exactly released the virus? No, I'm not going to claim to. But when the same people who made the cure are the same people who own a patent or a part patent on Moderna. The NIH owns a joint patent. Are the same people that tried to cover up the lab leak theory, are the same ones who are pushing the vaccination, who are the same ones who are pushing the variant. To me, it seems pretty clear what happened, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say it because we live in a biomedical authoritarian security state. We're telling the truth about these injections or where they came from or the virus came from is a thought crime that goes against the American Constitution. So, can I tell you where it came from? No, I'm not sure. But the same lab that was being funded was right next to the wet market that pretty much every smart person knows is not where it came from. Is comes from the people who were working on the cure to this before it. I mean, at a certain point, I would say the evidence is leading pretty clear. So it's all like a big circus at this point until people want to, really ask the tough questions. I think we're getting closer, but I don't. Where do I think it came from? What I just said. I think it seems pretty clear what they did, but you're not allowed to say it. And that's why I want to read something real quick. This is from Tim Dillon. I meant to read this earlier, but it actually fits in perfectly. Real quick. I actually can't find it, but whatever. He was talking about. Let me see. Actually, maybe it's right there. He did a tweet about censorship. Here it is. He said, Tim Dillon, he's a comedian. He said, I like him a lot. He's funny. You have to defeat bad ideas with good ideas. Censorship is a drug, and once it becomes mainstream, it will be wielded by both political extremes. How people choose not to see it is beyond me, but the idea of silencing one's enemies is powerful and apparently all consuming. The First Amendment's there for a reason. You're supposed to be able to question vaccinations. You're supposed to be able to question science. It's not science if you can't question it and experiment it and read data. If you can't speak about it, it's authoritarianism. So the fact that they censored the lab leak makes me think it was almost definitely a lab leak. The fact that you can't question this product or you're not allowed to say the same people who are pushing the cure, which clearly is not a cure because you have to get it every 6 months and it doesn't eliminate the virus. The same people who are pushing the multi-billion-dollar product are the same ones in some cases who had prior knowledge of this before the public had knowledge of it. The same people who were in on certain events and certain executive orders that paved the way for their tyranny, and certain people who were involved in the funding of manipulation of bad coronaviruses. I mean, I don't think it could be much more clear to anybody with half a brain, but I don't know what I'm allowed to say because I don't live in a free country. I'm not speaking on free platforms, and you know, they. I mean, I pretty much just said it. So I think it's pretty clear, but it's hard to figure that out. Someone said there's a flaw in your position. Your personal dislike of Trump has you looking thirsty. Well, I actually liked him a lot. I don't like him personally now, but can you name one flaw with what I'm saying? Because that's not really like a flaw in the argument. You're just saying, I think that you dislike him too much and it makes you look a certain way to me. That didn't address anything I've said about him, any facts, any articles. Nah, it didn't do it. It just, to me, I could say, there's a flaw in your argument. You're too obsessed with him. So instead of being able to engage in a debate about him, you just make a personal, accusation against me. So I could say the same thing to you. You're thirsty over him. So instead of typing something rational, you're just defending him at all costs, like a lot of people. So if you can make a point, I've been waiting for a year and a half. You think I'm not a thoughtful person? You think I never learned anything? You think nobody ever corrected me? I've been waiting, but I keep hearing the same three things on loop. Well, what do we do? I need to follow a politician. Well, he had to print the money. Socialism's good when my guy does it. If he didn't rush the vaccines, we'd be locked down for 5 years, says nobody. It's like you don't name something that makes sense besides like, I think you hate him. You hate him. You hate him, so it doesn't make sense. I think you dislike him and it makes you thirsty. Okay. I think you love him and it makes you thirsty. See, this is like a childish debate now. Can you say any argument? I'll wait. Someone said, "Isn't it old news that politics is an illusion?" Said Matt on Facebook. To me, yes, it's very old. That's why when like this is the weird part. I don't know. When I supported certain people more than others, people question them all the time. I listened to David Icke, who questioned Donald Trump. He said Trump was a sellout. Did you ever see me make videos and say, "Oh my God, David Icke questioned my hero"? I never did that because I would listen to him and I wouldn't agree with everything, but I would be like, I like hearing people, as long as they're honest, who say things that I don't agree with, because that's how you learn. So it's always been known that politics is an illusion, but Donald Trump did this weird thing where he made liberals go insane hating him, and he made Republicans go insane loving him. So now this age-old thing that politics is an illusion is now somehow a controversial idea. Everybody in the Trump movement says politics is an illusion except for Trump. And I say politics is an illusion, and he didn't turn out the way I thought he would, and he really didn't do that well in the end. And now I'm like the edgy one. You got people talking about Guantanamo underground tunnels, but I say that Trump is kind of not doing as much as people think he is. And all of a sudden, I'm the outcast. It's like I'm blowing people's mind. It's like, you're darn right. It's the age old thing, but people don't want to address it when it's somebody that they obsess over. Um, Let me see. Someone said Trump kept Christopher Wray and Gina Haspel in office, didn't go after Comey, didn't go after Hillary, didn't tell us who uses taxpayer money to defend sexual accusations, and didn't tell us what happened to JFK. And he had 4 years to fix that voting process. My thought is this: when he was in office too, because people are like, in 2020, I had my disagreements. This is not, I didn't wait till after the election. I didn't wait till he lost or whatever. I said this all 2020, but I did, because I'm a thoughtful person. I did think to myself too, listen, my opinion about Donald Trump doesn't matter. It doesn't. My opinion, if I think he's going to do this or that, what matters is what he does, right? So I actually, although I was highly critical of what he was doing, I tried to get people to oppose it. People didn't listen. I thought, let's see what he does. He has till January. A lot of presidents do big things before they get out of office, because if he's not going to be in office, he's like, well, whatever. What do I have to lose? Let me just do what I got to do. I was patient because I'm a thoughtful person. I said, you know what? My opinion about Trump doesn't matter. Let's see what he does on his way out of office. And he couldn't have possibly been a bigger piece of trash on his way out of office. He got his supporters set up at the Capitol. He told them to march there. He said he would follow them. He led them to like a honeypot setup trap. He told people that Mike Pence was going to overturn the election, which was never going to happen. If you believe Trump that Mike Pence was going to overturn the election, you can hate me, but you got to look at the mirror, because I wanted Trump to win. I don't like Mike Pence. I never thought Mike Pence was going to overturn the election. And if you think Mike Pence has the power to send electorates back, or he's going to use that power, then you wait till Kamala Harris does it. Like, that's so stupid, but whatever. It hasn't been done since Abe Lincoln, but he's going to do it. No, he's not. Like, what are you smoking? You like Trump so much, you just make up fantasies? That's what people do. I like him and I can't face the truth, so I'm just going to say what I want to happen. Cool. I want it to rain meatballs and I'll eat them, you know what I'm saying, with a fork, but it doesn't happen. So I was patient and I let the guy, I'm like, let's see if he pardons Julian Assange. Let's see if he pardons Edward Snowden. Let's see if he pardons his own supporters who got arrested, supporting him. Let's see if he pardons Joe Exotic. Let's see if he releases some files on his way out of office. Maybe he's got, a quote unquote kill switch that he's going to expose the government. He did nothing. He's a clown. He's embarrassing. So, people that are like, yeah, but you supported him. And I'm like, I was hoping he won over Biden. And I was hoping that he did something on his way out. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm such a nice guy. I could have said I gave him 5 months. I'm like, maybe he'll do something cool on his way out. And he didn't. He did literally opposite. He got thousands of people set up by the FBI and then just like acted like he doesn't even know who they are. Just like he used Julian Assange, and then he acted like he didn't know who WikiLeaks was. Oh, who's WikiLeaks? I don't know. Who's that? He doesn't like whistleblowers. He never liked whistleblowers. He never liked Edward Snowden. He never liked Julian Assange. He just pretended to like Julian Assange because he could use his work, just like he used his support base, just like he used Steve Bannon, just like he used Alex Jones. And then when you go away, he doesn't care, but this is the way of the world. if you act that way, eventually it's going to catch up to you, unfortunately. Someone said Pence is a clown. It's funny that Pence thinks he's going to run or something. People keep tweeting like, "Oh, Mike Pence is going to run." Nobody's going to vote for Mike Pence. I think Caitlyn Jenner got like a couple percentages of the vote. That's going to be Mike Pence. He's not going to win. I would never vote for Mike Pence. You would never vote for Mike Pence. Liberals would never vote for Mike Pence. Republicans would never vote for Mike Pence. Who's going to vote for Mike Pence? Why does he think like Mike Pence is not going to win? He's a little delusional. Trump completely blew up his entire campaign. Pence probably hates Trump. Someone said, "Move on." If you don't want to hear what I'm saying, click the X button. Like this is move on to what? What do you want? I want to talk about Mike Pence right now. It's my show. I'm just saying he's not going to win in office. And after January 6th, after Trump kind of threw him under the bus, he's never going to win. I would never vote for him anyway because he's too like establishment politician. Someone said, "Who even picked Pence as a VP?" Trump, I would think. I don't. Someone said Mike Pence is a cyborg with the heart of an extraterrestrial. I guess you could say that. That's one. Someone said he released the UFO files. Did he though? The UFO files that they keep talking about on media, these are old New York Times documents that I believe like the singer of like one of the guys from Blink 182 works with the CIA. Like he's like he literally admits that. But they talked about this years ago and nobody cared that much. And now they're bringing back like old UFO documents that have been out for years and they're acting like it's brand new. So I don't know which ones you're talking about, but if it's the ones I'm talking about that the Blink 182 guy tried to mainstream on Joe Rogan, I don't think it's that new. But someone said, "How did he set up the January 6th constituents?" By telling people to come to Washington, that Mike Pence is going to overturn the election. That I mean, I don't know. I didn't go. It seemed like not a great idea to me in general. People were like, "Let's go to the Capitol because Mike Pence is going to get hung or something." It's like, what? Like people were literally like, "Yo, Mike Pence," it was just a mess. I'm not blaming it all on Trump, but it's like he's saying, "Go to the protest, go to the Capitol." You got people with major platforms saying Mike Pence is going to be hung, Biden's going to be arrested, the pedophiles are going to be arrested. That's not Trump's fault, but you got all these people saying all this stuff. I would guess that over 50% of people that went to the Capitol, they literally in their hearts thought that Mike Pence was going to overturn the election. I didn't go, but if I went, I would know that that wasn't going to happen. So after it happened, Trump gave a speech. I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying it's bad leadership. Like it's not good leadership. He told people to march down to the Capitol. He said, "I'll be there with you." He didn't go with them. And then all hell broke loose. Is it justified what they're doing? No, but I'm just saying it's just crappy leadership. I'm sorry. I wouldn't do stuff like that. But I guess people are so desperate for leadership, they thought that was like a good idea. And now every major organizer that went to that thing has to lay low and is getting sued. Like it was like a sloppy event. I don't know what to tell you. Someone said that was Q propaganda. Yeah, but here's what I'm trying to say though. It's like I'm not blaming Trump for everything that Q did, but he could have said at any point, that's not what's happening. This is happening. He never did any of that. He elevated Lynn Wood, and Lynn Wood is hinting that, Mike Pence should be executed. So a lot of people thought that would happen because Trump is elevating Lynn Wood, and Lynn Wood's saying that. And Lynn Wood is a famous lawyer. I'm not blaming Lynn Wood, but it's like you got people saying all this stuff. You got major channels saying the pedophiles are going to be arrested on January 6th. He's still in office. I'm not saying that you have to not want him in office. It's just like it was just sloppily done. I don't, like it was just like a bunch of people that didn't know what the hell was going on, rallying around the vaccine salesman who's been selling Moderna products for 3 months. Like I didn't go. Why do you think I didn't go? For many reasons, but I didn't trust Trump. I didn't trust the fact that he was selling vaccines every day on his platform like Bill Gates. So that was my intuition to say, someone said he said protest peacefully. I'm just saying, I'm telling you why I didn't go. This is my intuition. You could hate me. You could say, I'm not a professional activist. I'm not going to DC to march for Trump, especially after he's selling vaccines so much. That was my intuition. My intuition probably saved my life and my career, my peace of mind. A lot of people didn't have that intuition and they went and now their lives are ruined, a lot of them. So someone said you're blaming him. I'm not blaming him in the same way Democrats are blaming him, but you got to be smarter with what you're doing. I don't know what to tell you. Like, if you're the president and you're a leader, do you think Trump was thinking about people getting set up and people losing their minds? He doesn't care. He just doesn't. It was about him. He didn't want to leave office. His lawsuits didn't work. Lynn Wood didn't come through and Sidney Powell didn't come through. And I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying Trump wanted to be in office. I wanted him to be there. He didn't get the right thing in office in the Supreme Court or the court. Nothing worked. So Trump was desperate. So what did Trump do? He did what he always did. He figured out who he could blame besides somebody else, and he blamed Mike Pence. So he told everyone to go to the Capitol, and he's telling people that Mike Pence is going to overturn the election. So I don't know. You get what I'm saying? I just think he's a sloppy leader. I don't think he cares about his supporters. I don't think he cares about the people who got arrested. I don't think he cared about the fact that over 50% of the people there thought Mike Pence was going to do something and were upset. I don't think he really thought much about telling them to go to the Capitol without a plan to make sure that everybody chilled out. Yeah, he said to stay peaceful, but I've been to protests. It gets ugly sometimes. It gets sloppy. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't think it was smart leadership, but I don't think he was thinking about all this stuff. You're talking to someone like, when I go to a protest with 3 speakers, I'm thinking about all this. So it's like, you're like, well, he doesn't care. I'm like, I care. If somebody tries to put me on a flyer with 5 other speakers, I'm thinking about all of this stuff always, before the pandemic, before the lockdown, before the FBI got everybody at the Capitol. I'm already thinking about this stuff. Like, I've been like, I don't want to go to that event. I don't think it's well organized. There's too many people on the thing, that are speaking that I don't want to be, associated with. I'm not afraid to talk to people, but I don't want to go to every event. I don't want to hang around everybody. I don't think every protest is a smart protest. I don't think every speaking event's a good event. I pick and choose where I go, and I don't like doing that stuff. So I think very thoroughly about everything I do. I'm not perfect, but I don't think he thought about anything besides himself. I think he said, who can I throw under the bus? Who can I blame? I didn't get the results I wanted, so let me blame my vice president who's been there, and let me tell my supporters that if they go, that they'll, change the election. And some people acted a fool, and he walked right into a trap. Even if it was a setup the whole time, I don't know. I just think it was poor leadership, and I think he was selling vaccines and bragging about himself, and he appealed people who don't think properly. Someone said thumbs down. It's fine. Like, there's hundreds of people who disagree with me, and there's dozens of people sitting in prison, and there's thousands of people who got harassed by the FBI because they didn't see it the way I saw it. So, I don't know what to tell you. Like, there's a lot of people who thought it was a great idea and they went, and I always thought it was a bad idea. Someone said he said peacefully protest. I'm not saying that he incited it. I'm just saying, as a leader, you should think about these things. Just think about it all the way. Like, people are flying all over the country, and they're not there thinking like, oh, Trump is going to lose and like, I'm going to have to deal with it. He's telling them that Mike Pence is going to change the results. It's not true. It never was true. So I don't know what to tell you. It's like, if that appeals to you, then go to the event and get arrested, or go to the event and get blamed for something you didn't do. I don't think everybody who went to the protest should be blamed. I think they're getting set up. I think they got force fed to the lions. And I think this FBI is trying to blame everybody when that's not what happened, because most people thought it was going to be peaceful. I'm just saying, my intuition told me Trump is not to be trusted. He's selling vaccines. He's lying to his audience. He's propping up, propagandists who are telling people that Pence is executing. It was, to me, as somebody who could have been there, it was sloppy. It was too sloppy and too untrustworthy for me to go. That's my intuition. I ended up being right. If I thought how you thought, I'd probably, be in a lot of trouble right now. So I'm not saying he said not to be peaceful. I'm just saying, overall, it just seems sloppy to me. I don't know what to tell you. Like he's like Moderna, Moderna, me, Moderna, Moderna, me, Moderna, wild protest. Come Mike Pence. Come support me. And I'm like, no. Like I'm like, I don't trust this vaccine salesman. Sounds like something that I don't want to go to. So I don't, I'm not saying everyone should be blamed. It's like when people are like, he didn't know. He just had to rush the vaccine. It's like, yeah, clearly he's this amazing leader who just never someone said he never said shit about Pence. He absolutely did. He absolutely did. He begged Mike Pence to overturn the election. He wanted to win the election. There's nothing wrong with that. He tried in the courts. It didn't work. He tried to gain enough evidence to push to show people he didn't get as much as everybody wanted. He tried his hardest. He had some things, but it wasn't enough, clearly, to get a result that he wanted. So what did he do? He blamed Mike Pence. Like, that's what he did. I don't know what to tell you. I don't like Mike Pence. I don't trust Mike Pence. I think he's a politician. But am I stupid enough to think that Donald Trump, the vaccine salesman, is going to convince Mike Pence to send the electorates back? I'm not trying to be mean, but like all these people are playing you. Like a lot of these people that are fighting election fraud, they're just taking your money. They're not doing anything. They're not doing what you think they're doing just because you want it to happen. That's the problem. I want it to happen, so I'm going to ignore everything. It's like, then just keep getting lied to and keep giving your money to people who do nothing. Like for instance, what was I going to say? I forget before that. Someone said, appreciate that you keep repeating the message. Someone said Penn should have done something. What? Oh, this is what I was going to say. The electorates from Pennsylvania and all these states, they had the chance if they wanted to block the election or raise a storm, and they didn't do it. You get what I like? Here's why people don't pay attention. So Pennsylvania, all these states, they sent their electorates in, and Mike Pence was going to send them back. This is how Republicans play you. They're all too soft to do anything. So the electorates and the people that are responsible for certifying the election, they certified the election. And then everybody got mad at them because they wanted them to not certify the election. So what did they do? They said, oh, you know what? We're going to change it if Mike Pence sends them back to us. And you guys bought it. I'm sorry. I wanted Trump to win the election, but all of these people are lying to you. It's like, oh yeah, we had the chance to do it, but we didn't. So if Pence sends them back, we'll really change it now. And people are like, oh yeah, Pence, send them back. Dude, it's not like Pence can decide who wins or not. He doesn't have the power to change the vote. There would be no democracy if he changed the vote. He has the power to send the electorates back to people who already sent him in. So the people who sent him in were lying to you. They just didn't feel like getting death threats and messages from Trump supporters who told them what terrible people they were for sending in the electorates. They had the option to block them. They had the option to do something. They didn't do it. This is the Republican Party, though. This is how easy it is to fool everybody. Well, it's Pence's fault. It's your fault. They're just dishing off the blame because they're all too pussy to do something. So you get what I'm saying? It's like Pence never had the option to change the election. He had the option to send the electorates back to the people who sent them in the first place. They sent them in. Why don't you talk to the electorates and say, why did you send them in? Because they're all lying to you. They just tell you what you want to hear because they're afraid of getting threats. Oh, yeah, send them back. They're not going to do shit. Everybody just push the blame on him, push the blame on him, and you guys eat it up, give them hundreds of millions of dollars of donations, and they do nothing every time. So you get what I'm saying? I'm not acting like I think the election was amazing, but people don't pay attention. This is my thing. If I want Trump to win the election, it doesn't mean giving $250 million to, Donald Trump means it's going to get overturned. And it doesn't mean giving him $250 million means he's going to spend it properly. I pay attention to this stuff. I don't trust him because of the vaccine. I don't trust his tweets. I don't trust the event. So I don't go. You can hate me for what I'm saying, but my intuition was a lot better than the people who went. No offense. But I learned this because I pay attention. I wanted the election to get changed. I wanted Donald Trump to win. I wanted him to be in office, but it didn't happen. But I was watching what's going on. Instead of watching what's going on, people said, well, I want Donald Trump to win, so I'll believe anybody who tells me what I want to hear. Good. Then give them billions of dollars, waste your money, run circles around people in Arizona who don't know what the hell they're doing, and just believe anybody who, oh, cyber symposium, watch me for 50 hours. Sure. Watch Mike Lindell for 50 hours. See if anything changes. You're easy to fool because you just believe anybody who tells you what you want to hear. So the whole gist of Mike Pence was to send the electorates back to people who already sent them in. They were never going to do anything. It's just nobody wants to take the blame, so they just dish it off to people. Why doesn't Donald Trump take the blame for locking the country down and printing the money and getting mass mail-in ballots to come here in the first place? Trump doesn't want to take blame for that, so he dishes it off on Pence. Pence doesn't want to take blame for it, so he dishes it off on them. The electorates don't want to take accountability for the fact that they themselves certified the election, so now they claim if they get the electorates back, they're going to change the election. They're not going to change shit. They're just telling you that because they probably got so many death threats from Trump supporters, they freaked out and said, okay, if you send the electorates back, I'll change it. They're not changing anything. Someone says, so you believe that he actually won? You're not listening to a word I'm saying, though. I'm trying to tell you I wanted Trump to win the election. I wanted the results to be overturned, but just because I want that doesn't mean I don't pay attention to anything. Like, I could run an organization. This is how easy Trump supporters are to fool. I can run an organization and I could say, hey guys, you know me from YouTube and Facebook. I'm Anomaly and I'm going to fight election fraud. The election was stolen and I'm going to save your country. Just give me money. I would raise millions of dollars. Do you know how many people would check where I spent the money? Probably nobody. I don't do that, but someone said Major TDS. You're not listening to what I'm saying. I'm just saying I wanted Trump to win the election. I wanted the election to get overturned, but that doesn't mean everybody who says what you want to hear is telling you the truth. That's what I'm talking about. I could raise $100 million to fight election fraud, spend zero of it, and nobody would care because Trump supporters are that easy to fool. I'm the election fraud fighter, $250 million. Does anybody in the comment section know where the $250 million raised by Trump to fight election fraud? Does anybody know where it went? Can you name a single dollar where it was spent? You name a single $20 bill, and do you know where that money was allocated? Of course you don't. You don't know anything. You just funnel your money out to this guy because he says what you want to hear. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I think Biden deserved to win. I'm not saying I think the election was fair. I'm not saying I didn't want Trump to get into office. I'm saying people don't pay attention to anything. That's why they're constantly getting lied to. I didn't go to the protest for multiple reasons. How did I know? Because I pay attention. Trump's selling vaccines every day on social media. Moderna, the election was stolen. Moderna, the election was stolen. Moderna, I'm the best. My vaccine's the best. Moderna. But it sounded like a setup to me. I'm sorry. I don't trust the vaccine salesman. He sold it 50 times. I'm not going to his stupid event. Oh, but I trust him, Anomaly, and you're so bad. Then go to a stupid event. Then get arrested by the FBI. Then get, labeled a terrorist when you don't deserve to. I'm not saying people who went deserve to. It was just a goofy event. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not saying Trump incited people. I'm not saying everybody there that was peaceful deserved to get charged because they don't. I think they're lying about everything. I think they're trying to act like it was worse than it was. I think they're trying to blame everybody who stepped foot there. I think they're trying to put people in prison who didn't even do anything. I don't agree with any of it. I'm just saying, as a leader, you should at least pay attention more. And if you get people in trouble, even by a mistake, I don't know, maybe you should pardon them instead of Jared Kushner's father. He doesn't give a shit about you guys. You guys run circles around him, give him money, do anything. He sets you up and you don't even want to talk about it. Someone said you're rambling. I must be the most interesting rambler ever, Tony, because you just keep watching and asking me to move on. Oh my God, you're rambling, but I can't stop listening to you. Then click the X button. Many people already have. I'm just saying, if there's anything you learn, pay attention to where your money goes. Pay attention to what people do. I knew they were lying the whole time because the people claiming that they were going to change the results already handed their results in. But nobody wants to address that because they don't pay attention. They just want what they want. It's a very goofy, selfish thing. Well, I want this to happen, so I'm just going to believe anybody who tells me it. Good. Then give $1 billion to idiots running in circles in Arizona. And I'm not saying everybody running in circles in Arizona is an idiot, but you think just because a woman comes out or a man comes out and says, I'm fighting election fraud. Oh, they're your best friend now? Oh my God, wow, they're fighting election fraud. You don't even know what they're doing. They're just like, oh, I'm going to do something. Like, some people are and some people aren't. Use your discernment to figure out which ones are doing good stuff and which ones are doing bad stuff. But you're never going to learn that if you don't even think about it. You're like, oh, I'm just going to believe anybody who says what I want to hear. If I ran for office or I said I was fighting election fraud, I could raise $1 million in a day, literally, and just say, I'm fighting election fraud. I'm running for office. People would give me money and nobody would pay attention to where it goes. Nobody would pay attention. Pay attention. There's going to be people who take advantage of you with everything that you like. Just pay attention. That's all I'm asking. Someone said I endorse Anomaly as a person, but this is sketchy territory. It's sketchy territory because this is the number one thing that people care about in the Trump world, and I don't fully agree with what they're doing. I don't. Yeah, it's sketchy because I'm not just saying what everyone else is saying. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. If pay attention to where your money goes when you donate it is sketchy, I don't know what to tell you. Like I'm telling you to just not believe everybody that tells you what you want to hear. If that sounds sketchy to you, okay, I'll say the opposite. Believe everybody who says what you want to hear. Anybody who says what you want to hear, believe them and give them money and don't pay attention to what they're doing and follow them to any event and question nothing and don't ever like pay attention. Is that what you want to hear? I don't is that less sketchy? I don't know what you want me to tell you. I don't like what? And now people are this is like their top 3 agenda where I'm like, it doesn't even address medical tyranny. Not a single person that's mad at me here can name where $1 out of $250 million went to fight election fraud. Cernovich talks about it all the time. He says, "Where did the money go that Trump raised to fight election fraud?" Does anyone know? Does anybody know? No one here knows. So, what? That's all. That's the point I'm trying to make. I don't. What? And I'm not blaming him in the same way Democrats are. I'm just saying, like there's certain leadership that makes sense, and there's certain leadership that doesn't. To me, clearly, it wasn't a good idea. Overall, that day did massive damage to the movement. Not me, not every, to the movement, because now it's very hard for people to organize. And I do want to say this too, because from March of 2020 from March of 2020 until January 2021, for a year, if you watched me on Twitter, you watched me on Facebook, my major concern the entire year was medical tyranny, bipartisan medical tyranny, by the way, but medical tyranny. And I was begging publicly, I was begging, if you watch my channel, to organizers, Trump supporters, people who do events. I was saying, guys, medical tyranny is here. How come nobody's standing up against it? And the number one thing that I heard publicly on Twitter and everything was, we want Trump to win the election. We don't want to protest for that right now. We don't want to stand up against medical tyranny. We want Trump in office. And once he's in office, we will stand up against medical tyranny. So I said, sounds fair. Okay, let me wait till November. November rolled along, and all these organizers and all these people that were claiming that they were going to stand up for medical tyranny once the election was over said, we got to wait till January. And then people organized the January 6th event. And then what happened? To every organizer who went to that event, they all got set up by the FBI. A lot of them got arrested. A lot of them are in lawsuits. Some of them got raided by the FBI. And now guess what everybody's doing? All the organizers that went to the January 6th protest, guess what's happening? They're all laying low because their whole life has been ruined and their whole career has been ruined for following the vaccine salesman to the Capitol. I'm not saying it's Trump's fault. I'm not saying that it's right what's happening. If they were doing something peaceful and they didn't break a law, what's happening is wrong, and they're trying to blame them for things they didn't do. But the point I'm getting to is I'm starting to find it very interesting that we can't actually organize against medical tyranny because the vaccine salesman got everybody set up at the Capitol. Is it his fault? I mean, You could say no, but that's what happened. So I just find it a little odd that everybody that told me to wait for a year, now they're laying low because we don't, we're just going to wait. There is no after January 6th because anybody who followed Trump to that event and organized something there is getting in a lot of trouble and they're trying to blame it for it. So you get what I'm saying? Someone said they did it on purpose. I mean, it's like thinking the lockdown is random and the vaccine is random. Like maybe, but it seems pretty, convenient politically. Oh, China doesn't know what they're doing. Oh yeah, China's economy is going up while everyone else's is going down. Maybe they didn't mean to, but it does seem pretty damn convenient. And I find it pretty damn convenient for the Biden administration that the vaccine salesman told everybody to go to an event that would eventually be their last event because it ended up being a setup one way or another. So am I not supposed to notice that? All these people that were claiming on Twitter that as soon as they're done protesting for Trump, they're going to be protesting against medical tyranny, they don't exist anymore because they got wiped out. You get what I'm saying? Am I not supposed to notice that? Because that happened. Someone said, thanks for putting it together. People don't want to hear it though. But I'm watching people on Twitter saying, and or like whatever, they're just like, man, we're going to fight for freedom. And then as soon as this is over, we're going to stand up against the vaccine tyranny. And it's like, well, now you're not because that event was not. And the whole reason I didn't go to that event, among many, I'm not a professional activist. I don't fly across the country to protest. I'm sorry, I'm not Martin Luther King Jr. If it's my event or something, maybe, but I'm not like a professional activist. Spend $2,000 to march in the streets. I'll pass. But in general, it's like I knew that Trump was not worth protesting for. You could say, "Oh, you're blaming him." I'm glad that I'm not like you. No offense, but if I thought like you, I probably would have been there. But I thought to myself, this guy is not worth protesting for. He's not worth flying a country for. I don't trust him. I think he's selfish. I don't think he cares about people. And I ended up being right. So you can hate me all you want. You can say I was wrong. I'm super glad I don't think like you because if I did, I would have been, set up and blamed for things I didn't do like everybody else. I never would have went in the Capitol. I think 95% of people thought that it was not going to end that way. I don't think anybody should be charged that didn't break literal laws. Like anybody that just stood there, they should not be blamed. They should not be charged. Protesters that didn't incite anything or didn't tell people to go in, they shouldn't be charged either. I think what's happening is a travesty. People who literally just went there for a peaceful protest and had nothing to do with what happened illegally, they should not be charged. I don't agree with that at all. But some people are still being charged. You get what I'm saying? I'm not blaming this person or the other. I'm just saying it's bad leadership. I don't know. It's just not good leadership. Is it like fully to blame? No, but it's just not. It was just not a good idea. And if I were to if I were to be somebody like, okay, Biden is about to get into office. Trump, he didn't pardon anybody cool. He didn't really do anything. But the point I'm trying to get to is like, what could be the greatest gift that Trump could have gave to Biden? What was the greatest thing Trump could have gave to Biden? He set up his supporters on a platter. Whether he did so purposely or not, I don't necessarily think he did purposely, but he got his supporters set up. Is it his fault? No, but that's what happened. So, as a leader, I don't think he could have given Biden a bigger gift than getting his most ardent supporters set up 14 days before he left office. I think that's just garbage. If I did that, even if they did stuff I told them not to do, I would feel horrible. Are you kidding me? Even if I would feel terrible, I would be like, you shouldn't have gone in, you shouldn't have broke the law, you shouldn't have done any of that. I disavow that. But at the same time, I would be like, you know what? Maybe I should have planned this a little better. You know what I'm saying? Instead of telling people like, you know, like it's not like he was just telling people, oh yeah, nothing's happened. He's like, the election was stolen, blah, blah. I'm not acting like a Democrat. I'm not trying to act like he should get charged or anything. I'm just saying he should feel bad. Like it's like he should feel bad for locking the country down. He should feel bad for printing a bunch of money. He feels no shame at all for anything. Like he has no regrets. He's just like, yeah, I saved the world with my vaccine. It's like, I don't, Okay, if people want to believe that or something, it's fine. But I'm not trying to blame him in the same way Democrats are. I'm just saying his leadership was trash all year, and that event just so happened to be the most convenient thing going. Someone said Tucker has proven that the six was the work of the FBI, but you're acting like if people knew that, then why make an event then? You know what I'm saying? Like I know. Do you think the FBI is not going to be there? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't. I'm not even this. You get what I'm saying? Like, you're going to do this massive event on the Capitol while your supporters are literally saying Pence might get executed while you're bringing hundreds of thousands. You think they're not going to be there? Like, did that blow people's mind? Dude, there were agents there. It's like, duh. Like he didn't know that, then he's an idiot. If he didn't know that that was a possibility, people that are 1/1000th of the size of Trump have to deal with that. You think Trump doesn't know that the government's going to be at this massive event? Like, I don't know. Like, is that supposed to like blow my mind? I'm not disagreeing with you, but it's like, dude, who would have saw that coming? Everybody, like anybody with a brain, like, yeah. And every event I go to, I'm thinking about everything. I'm thinking about who's on the flyer. I'm thinking about where the event is. I don't want to get caught in a setup. I don't want to get caught in an event that ends up crappy because I'm with stupid people. I'm certainly not going to go to freaking Washington, D.C. with 100,000 people while Trump's selling vaccines and people are on Telegram telling everybody that the pedophiles are getting arrested. Like, it sounds like a mess. It's just a mess. Like, no, everybody's not there with like the understanding goal of what's going on. Everybody's there with 50 million different things going through their head, thinking something's going to happen that it's not happening. It's not Trump's fault. It's just a sloppy event. I don't know what to tell you. It's sloppy. It's sloppy. Usually Trump rallies are organized. You know what I'm saying? They're very well organized. We're going to meet here. We're going to listen to Trump. You're going to go home. This event was sloppy. I do shows. I've done Sturgis. I've done certain shows that you go to are very well done, and certain shows are sloppy. I'm not trying to go to a sloppy event. Like, oh yeah, they're here. It's like, duh, there's 100,000 people in front of the Capitol. You think they're not going to try to catch you on something? Of course they are. So, it's better to just pay attention. I'm not saying it's right. It's just like, I don't know. Shao said, I fell for Trump too. Have you heard of Legal Man? You should invite him on your show. Thank you. No, I haven't heard of him. I'll check him out. Like, I'm trying to explain this without sounding wrong because I don't think what they're doing is right. I don't think that, I think they're overcharging people. But it's like at a certain point, I saw something that didn't seem right. And I still think that people are getting mischarged. I'm just saying things are going to keep happening if people don't pay attention more. Someone said the bigger picture is that folks are still in jail. I mean, it's pretty stupid to go in people's offices. I think that's pretty stupid, honestly. The people that like broke into offices and stuff, it's like, what are you doing? It's stupid. But at the same time, yeah, there's people that are being charged that didn't do that. That like there's some people who broke into people's offices. It's like if you break into Nancy Pelosi's office, I mean, that's pretty stupid. You're gonna get charged. Like I know I wouldn't do that if I didn't want to go to jail. Like, why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. But there are people who just stood outside that are getting charged as if they broke in the office. That's not right. I think a lot of these people that are being held and charged didn't actually do anything. So I don't agree with that. But I'm just saying, to me, it's sad because people followed him there, and now they're in jail. And I don't, it's like it's just all bad. Someone said, was anybody charged with insurrection? Yeah, I don't think so. A lot of this is like they're holding people before their trial, which is messed up. They're, charging people the max for certain things, and they're trying to blame people who didn't do anything with like higher charges. I don't agree with it. I don't think Trump should be charged. I don't think Trump should go to jail. I just think as a leader, he should take a little bit of accountability and just try to lead people better in the future. Like, hey, I didn't mean for this to happen. I didn't want this to happen. I told people to be peaceful, but in hindsight, bringing people here, having 75% of them think that Mike Pence is going to overturn the election because I said that that was a possibility, even though I knew he probably wasn't. I was tweeting this before January 6th, but like, dude, Trump has Mike Pence's phone number. People that watched me for a year remember me saying this before the 6th and after the 6th. If Trump thought Pence was going to overturn the election, he could call Mike Pence. Like, this is stuff that he should know. You know what I'm saying? Like, he should know what Mike Pence is doing because he has his phone number. You think Trump can't call Pence? It was all like a big fake show to me. I don't know what you want me to say. Like, I'm not going to blame Trump for everything, but like, as a consumer of news, it seems like a fake show. Like, Trump's selling vaccines. Trump's telling everybody that Pence might overturn the election. Dude, call him. It'd take 5 minutes. Are you going to overturn the election? No, then I'll tell people that. He wasn't interested in telling people what was going on. He was interested in dangling the carrot in front of people's faces, leaving people in a shred of mystery. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. Not. Someone said, I remember you saying this stuff. Because it's true. If I'm the president, someone said, that's true. You did warn us about the 6th. I just smelled something that didn't seem right. Like, Trump, every other word out of his mouth was Moderna, 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 Pence, Moderna, Pence, Moderna. It just seemed like it reminded me of Bernie Sanders when Bernie Sanders started just repeating the same things over and over and over again. Like, Bernie used to be like, Trump used to really say a bunch of stuff. He'd be like this, this, this. Trump was a real person, right? He would say everything all the time. He was commenting on everything happening. And at a certain point, Trump on Twitter, I would say starting like November, Trump turned into a robot. It seems scripted to me. You don't have to agree with me, but this is why I didn't trust it. He used to comment on everything going on in the world. And then he turned into a pull string doll. He said, Moderna, I'm the best, Moderna, Pfizer, Moderna, selling vaccines. The election was stolen, selling vaccines, Mike Pence, selling. It was the same 3 slogans for like 4 months straight. He sounded like a politician pull string doll. And I had flashbacks when Bernie Sanders went from being a real person to being just a Hillary Clinton puppet. He said the same 4 things every day on Twitter. And once I realized that, I was like, oh, Bernie's just saying slogans. He's just like saying generic things. Trump started doing the same thing. So that's why I didn't trust it. I was like, he doesn't seem like a real person anymore. He sounds like somebody that's just like tweeting the same 5 things on loop. That was one of the reasons I didn't believe it. And then when he started tweeting things about Pence, I just thought to myself, if he really wants to have a conversation with Pence about it, he doesn't have to tweet about it. Like, I tweet about people that I don't know. And I'm not like that, not that that makes it right, but like, if I wanted to talk to somebody that I had their number, I would just call them. I don't tweet things about people that I know. I just talk to them. So he's tweeting about Mike Pence as if he's a Trump supporter just wondering what's going to happen. He's the president who hired Mike Pence, and Mike Pence, he has his phone number. So that was my thought in December. I'm like, why is he acting like this is like a mystery? He should just call Trump call Mike Pence and figure it out. These are the reasons that I didn't trust the event. You don't have to agree with me, but clearly my intuition was good. Someone said, please talk to Legal Man. I'll check him out. Legal Man. I'll look it up, Shao Kahn. Thank you. Someone said no one was charged. I'm not saying that people are getting properly charged. I'm just saying, like, people talk about 5-dimensional chess. Like, oh, we're playing 5-dimensional chess. Printing money is not 5-dimensional chess. It's 5-dimensional chess for the Democrats. Rushing vaccines. That's not 5-dimensional chess for your freedom. That's 5-dimensional chess for Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, and Johnson & Johnson. All these things that Trump did in 2020, this is not, if you're talking about life is chess and politics is chess, Republicans are playing chess for the other team. And same with January 6th. I'm not trying to act like it's the worst thing in the world. I'm not trying to act like it's a Democrat documentary telling you that the whole country was destroyed. I'm just saying, if it's 5-dimensional chess, it was a bad move. And history proves that. It was bad for Trump. It was bad for the movement. It was bad for anybody who went there. It accomplished literally nothing. And it destroyed people's entire careers for the next 4 to 10 years. And it gave the FBI a justification to then push against millions of Trump supporters. It was not a good five-dimensional chess move. You could say he messed up. You could say he didn't know. I'm not even trying to argue that. I'm just saying it's not a good move. Just like selling vaccines is not a good move. It's not helping us. Everybody knows it's available. Nobody needs another sales pitch. Shut up, Trump. You're getting old. You sound like a grandpa stuck on a pharmacy loop. Like we know. We know you did it. We know you're a special boy. We know Pfizer loves you. You love Johnson Johnson. We get it, dude. Move on, because we got a million things to worry about in this world, and that isn't one of them. So that's all I'm trying to say, really, is like, if people want to win, you got to be like, okay, in hindsight, maybe that wasn't a great idea, but it's like, oh, that was great. We just didn't know. Then do it again. I don't know what to tell you. Someone said that poor lady got shot for what? The cop was trigger happy. She shouldn't have got shot. This might not be popular, but at a certain point, like, people need to take accountability for their lives. So I'm not trying to be mean, because I think the cop was trigger happy. I don't think he needed to do it. But according to the video I saw, they're indoors. There's a broken window. I mean, if that was even real, but there's a broken window. She's climbing through the window. Like, what are you doing? I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like, stop. What do you do? Like, what if I would have went to the Capitol? I wouldn't have gone inside. I wouldn't have climbed through a window. Like, at what point do you have accountability that you just don't do stuff like that? I'm not saying it should have happened, but I say the same thing with George Floyd and all these other people. Like, yes, it shouldn't have happened, but at what steps 1 through 8 do you ever take accountability and be like, yeah, like, that's all dumb? Like, would you go to a protest and go indoors and climb through a window? Like, would you do that? I wouldn't. And I'm not saying it should have happened, but like, at what point do you stop role playing activists and just stand still? Like, what are you doing? It's bad that happened. If a Democrat got shot, people would have freaked out. The cop was trigger happy, but at a certain point, what do you do? Like, am I supposed to pretend like? Am I supposed to pretend like that's not a like? Just stop. I've been to protests before on both sides, where I think we went like years ago. There was some Hollywood protest, and I went to film it. It was like a Democrat protest, but I was filming it and like asking them questions. You got people marching on the street, like, and they were blocking traffic. And I tried to explain to them. I said, they were blocking at one point a freaking emergency hospital thing. And I'm like, dude, get the hell out of the street. You're blocking an ambulance. It wasn't turned on, but it was like an ambulance. I was like, why the hell would you do that? Some people are idiots. So if you go to an event with hundreds of thousands of people, yes, there's Democrats who went inside. Yes, there's almost definitely agents who went inside. But there's also stupid, I'm not trying to be mean, but like Trump supporters who went inside, Trump supporters who broke into offices, Trump supporters who climbed in windows. It's not to say that there weren't other people inside, but in your head, it's like, never would there be a Trump. Have you ever gone to a protest? Most people are smart. Not everybody is. So people do stupid shit. People break, people think it's their moment, and it doesn't make it right. I'm just saying, like, at the same time, it's like, why were people broke into Nancy Pelosi's office or whatever because they thought it was funny. Like, haha, this is funny. Like, I'm not trying to be mean, but if I broke into Nancy Pelosi's office, my first thought would be, I'm going to prison for a long time. Like, this is not smart. Or even in general, I'd be like, I don't think anybody who walked in and got let in, I don't think they should be charged. Anybody who was just taking a tour, I don't think they should be charged. Anybody who went in or didn't go in, I don't think they should be charged. If Brett Kavanaugh supporters or Brett Kavanaugh haters didn't get charged for standing inside, then I don't think Trump supporters should get charged. So I'm not here to say what's going on is fair. It's not fair. There's a double standard against you. I'm completely against it. But my personal thought is just like, certain people did stupid stuff. I don't, and like, it's sad that everyone has to get blamed for that, because it's not fair. People don't get blamed when people riot the streets. They don't blame Black Lives Matter. So it's not fair. I'm not saying it's equal. I'm not saying people are being properly charged, but if you're like climbing through windows and breaking into offices, that's kind of stupid. Is it not? I don't know. Maybe that's like what you would do, but I wouldn't. Someone said Pence dropped his responsibility. Trump did not shoot himself in the foot. When the state's votes were being looked at, FBI, commies, and Antifa were the perps. There's a few hundred bad actors. I believe Trump is threatened. Well, here's where I disagree. Like, you could say what you want because you're not going to offend me. I don't like Pence. I don't trust him. I find him a way worse politician than Trump. But at the same point, like, if you think the best way to win the election is to wait till January 6th for Mike Pence, you lost. Like, to me, like, I'm the type of person, if I play a game, if I'm Trump, you don't have to say it's fair, but at a certain point, be like, damn it, I didn't win. I don't even care if he says he got cheated. That doesn't bother me. It's like, sure. But to blame Pence, that's like a corny move. That's like being Michael Jordan and blaming Scottie Pippen after you lose the game. Like, dude, take some accountability. So if you're a Trump supporter and you're like, dude, the only way we can win the election is on January 6th and Mike Pence, I find it corny. I'm sorry. What about not locking down the country? What about not imploding the economy? What about not pressuring Georgia to try to keep them closed? What about not extending it past Easter? What about not opening the door for Democrats to do mass mail-in ballots? Is any of that part of your equation? No, because that's not. Republicans don't like to take accountability. They like to, let me just blame Mike Pence. I don't like Mike Pence, but you're waiting till January 6th. If you're waiting till January 6th to win the election, you lost. Like, that's not a viable solution. He needs to send the electorate back. Dude, just grow up. I'm sorry. Someone said you don't make sense. You don't make sense. You screw up parts 1 through 50, and then you get to part 51, which is the Hail Mary. This is like a Hail Mary. It's like 4th and 40. You got 1 minute left, and you're praying that Mike Pence send the electorates back to Pennsylvania and other states so they could do a different result than they already sent in. You're lying to yourself. Win the game in the fourth quarter, the third quarter. Don't wait till it's 4th and 40 with a Hail Mary to Mike Pence and blame him for your whole life. Mike Pence is to blame for the coronavirus task force. Mike Pence is to blame for the Trump administration's failures in 2020. But am I supposed to like it's a loser mentality? Like, a loser waits until the last second and then blames that. There's 20 things that the Trump administration and Biden could have done better in 2020 to save the election. They could have not locked down. They could have opened earlier. They could have fought harder against mass mail-in ballots earlier. They rolled out the biomedical security state. They imploded their own economy. They sat there and tweeted on Twitter when Black Lives Matter rampaged everybody's neighborhoods. And then they wait until January 6th. Like, that, it's just lame. I don't know, like, like, you're down 40 and you're like, damn, the only way we could have won is the last second. Like, you could have done 50 other things. You just didn't, or couldn't, or it didn't work. So then you just throw the ball to that. I don't even like Mike Pence, but it's just like a loser mentality. Like, oh yeah, if we don't win in January 6th with that guy, then it's his fault. It's like, if you even think for 2 seconds that Mike Pence is going to save you 3 months after the election, clearly you're not where you want to be. It's like being down 40 points and saying that there's no other way. You could have not been down 40 points. You could have, figured something else out better. It's just lame to me. But everybody does it because it's the cool thing to do. Republicans tell people, oh, don't play the victim. Don't play the victim. But we're going to play the victim. We'll play the victim every day. We'll play the victim with the election. It's corny. There's 20 things that Republicans did to blow the election for themselves, to usher in mass mail-in ballots. It's just like, I don't know. You think nobody thought about machines? What was his name? Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory's been talking about machine voting for 40 years ago. Democrats were complaining about the machines in 2018. People were complaining about those exact machines 3 years ago. You think they can't do anything until the last second? Like, they're just lying to you. They use machines to win. And then they wait until last second and then say, oh, we need to do it in January 6th. Okay, do it before the election. They're not the first people to complain about machine voting. I've complained about machine voting for 10 years. I don't wait until 3 months after something happens and then blame someone else. Like, just, be like, we should have looked at the machines earlier. We should have blocked mass mail-in ballots. We should have never locked the country down. We should have never allowed this to happen. We should have never enabled big pharma. They didn't do anything for themselves, and they wait till the last second. And then everybody gets on it because it's the easy thing to do. Someone said half the Republicans are in on it. None of this is even possible without the Trump administration caving to literally everything from March until July. So it's like, It's just boring. Like someone said, for a strategist, he wasn't a good planner. Georgia tried to open up earlier than anybody, and Trump had a problem with it. Trump was promoting lockdowns until like May. He's not, he like, it's just like, it's such an embarrassing movement now. It's like, let's screw up a million times and then let's pick one event and blame that person. Someone said hindsight. I said this last year too. It's just, someone said the Supreme Court is a flop for sure. And they put two or three of them there. So I don't, someone said, "Is there anything he can do? Trump can redo to regain my support? Stop selling vaccines so much. Stop lying about saving the world. Stop being a suck up to Johnson and Johnson as Pfizer. Start proving that he cares about freedom and actually has a solution to this." I mean, if he just stopped lying and being a vaccine salesman, sure, yeah. I mean, I could I could respect it, but I just don't fit into this movement anymore, and I don't really care. But it's like people are like, you know what really screwed up the country? And I'm like, what? The lockdown? No. COVID? No. The CARES Act? No. Operation Warp Speed? No. What screwed up the country? Mike Pence on January 6th. Like, yeah, that's like, go see a therapist and keep telling yourself that. Not everything that came before, right? Not the 30 things that the Republicans and the Trump administration and the Pence administration, none of that mattered, right? You just wait until a year later and just blame the 4th and 40 Hail Mary. It was always a Hail Mary. You wish that Mike Pence would have thrown the Hail Mary. And if he would have thrown the Hail Mary, it probably wouldn't have even been received. He's sending the electorates back to the same people who already sent him in. It's not like we learned something a month later. No, they got threatened and they probably got afraid. So they're like, yeah, we'll overturn the election now. They had the opportunity to do that. Did Mike Pence go steal them from them? No, they sent them in. It's like, it's too easy to fool people. Just tell them what they want to hear and everybody will believe it. It reminds me of like, I always use sports as references. I'm sorry if that's lame. It's the only thing I can think of. It reminds me of playing a sport. Like I personally, I don't like people that constantly blame the referee. Maybe the referee makes like a huge mistake, but in general, it's like you don't have to be down 40 points with a Hail Mary. You can be winning more. So like I look at a game and I don't just blame the ref or blame the other team. I always look at myself. We could have played better. We shouldn't have been down 2 points. We should have been up 50 points. You get what I'm saying? That's my mentality. I have a winner's mentality. I don't blame everybody else. I don't blame the referee. If the referee was cheating, you should have said it before the game. You don't wait till after the game and then blame like the fifth best player on your team and say he should have thrown a Hail Mary better. It's pathetic. That's the Republican Party to me now. It's like, let's just take accountability. If that's the guy running the country, he should take the most accountability. If he was responsible for steps 1 through 10 of him losing the election, he should talk about them. He just wants to hand the ball off to the idiot that he picked and then blame him. It's a loser mentality. I don't just sit and blame. Okay, if that was a problem, you should have addressed it. If that was a problem, you should have done something about it. Not wait until last second and run around. And that's why people got set up at the Capitol. I'm not saying he meant to, but this is his mentality. Throw people under the bus. Use Julian Assange, throw him under the bus. Use Alex Jones to win the election, throw him under the bus. Use Milo Yiannopoulos to get his election, then ignore him. You know what I'm saying? Use your supporters to win the election, then ignore him. Lock the country down, mass mail-in ballots, work with Mike Pence for 4 years and then complain about him. Hire General Milley to the military and then call him an asshole. Slobber over Netanyahu for 4 years and then say F Netanyahu. I'm sorry, but this is like just who Trump is. He loves Netanyahu for 4 years and then he curses him off when he's out of power. He hires General Milley and then he complains about him. The joke is on you, Trump. You hired him. You ushered in the mass mail-in ballots. You did the lockdown. You allowed this to happen. And then he just can't take accountability for anything. And he just blames somebody else. It's just corny. I don't, it's like, it's just corny. Like, just corny leadership to me. Someone said Anomaly was hired by Klaus Schwab. Yeah, that's a lie. Oh yeah, Klaus Schwab hired me to talk about his stuff and say I disagree with him. Yeah, that's whatever you want to tell yourself. If you want to lie to yourself and claim that the founder of the World Economic Forum hired me to tell you the truth about your own party, go follow someone who lies to you. That's a provable lie that you're just telling yourself because you don't want to hear what I'm saying. Someone said, so you think he hired and did all this on purpose? You're not listening to what I'm saying. I'm not saying he did this all on purpose. I'm just saying you have to take accountability. If you're the quarterback of the team and you throw 20 interceptions in 2020, he's a jackass for not admitting that. He doesn't admit to a single one. You think Tom Brady would throw 20 interceptions and blame his running back? Trump's a loser of a leader. Like he blames himself zero. He takes no account. Did he do it purposely? I don't necessarily think so, but he takes no accountability, and you guys take no accountability. So you believe somebody who takes no accountability. I'm saying he lost the elections with step 1 through 20. And step 21, the Hail Mary at the last second, because they screwed up every other option, was to beg Mike Pence to send the electorates back. Could he have done it? Sure. But is that the do you want that? You want to wait until like that means you screwed up pretty bad. If you need that to happen, you screwed up pretty bad. But people don't want to hear that. It's like he threw 20 interceptions in his final year. Trump did. So he has to admit that, or else he doesn't appeal to me. He appeals to people who want to hear what they want to hear. He needs to take accountability. There would be no mass mail-in ballots with no lockdowns. And a lot of this is psychological. It's not just policy. When you have both parties locking you down, both parties telling you it's bad, both parties lying about the data, you know how long Donald Trump lied about the data for? I was saying Sweden's not that bad. Sweden's not that bad. I was trying to wake people up. It's not that bad. The data proves it. Trump wasn't saying that. He's been bad-mouthing Sweden forever. He told people Sweden's bad because they didn't lock down hard enough. Brazil's bad. I like Bolsonaro, but they should have locked down harder. Operation Warp Speed's great. Trump threw 20 interceptions. So it's a cowardly thing to do to wait until the last second and blame your vice president. And I don't even like Mike Pence. I'm just saying it's just a corny move. Like, oh, I hate him. Then don't choose him. Oh, Milley's so bad. Then why did you hire him? Everybody, oh my God, I sat down with Zuckerberg. Oh, I didn't know he was bad. It's like, what? You know, like this is his leadership. Dude, I just ate with Zuckerberg. Why did he censor me? It's like, dude, like, is he like a circus clown? He just like doesn't know anything all the time. It's just corny. But this is what people want to hear, I guess. They want somebody to like tell them what they want to hear. But that's the difference, I guess, with me and other people. I don't want to just accept it, all this stuff that's happening. And I'm just like, no, this is whack. I don't know. Let's not accept this as like a normal thing. And let's tell them that this is unacceptable, you know? Man, there's some real geniuses on here. Someone said you keep bashing the right, that's you must be a Democrat. Okay, so by your logic, you don't like Mitt Romney, right? You shouldn't. You must be a Democrat. If you don't like John McCain, you must be a Democrat. If you try to challenge your own side to get better, you must be working for the Democratic Party. Like, what are you like? I'm not trying to be mean, but are you like a boomer acting like you just got into kindergarten? Like you just pooped your pants and you're like, if it's not blue, it's orange. Like, whoa, that's real high level thinking there. Wait, you don't like John McCain? What are you, a blue? What do you want, Obama? It's either Romney or Obama. What are you gonna vote for, Obama? It's like maybe, just maybe, you keep losing because you think it's weird to like call out your own side. Where I, it's so goofy. Like, oh, the elites, Klaus Schwab paid Anomaly. It's like I know I'm doing well because my opposition just like literally lies about me. They can't like talk about what I'm saying. So they're like, who paid you to oppose everything they're doing? It's like I didn't get paid by Pfizer. The guy that you love got paid by Pfizer. I didn't fund Gavi Vaccine Alliance. The guy that you love funded him. So, you know, I didn't roll out the biomedical security state. Listen, if you guys want to live in a fantasy world where you don't want to look at what happened, I don't care. But I'm not going to spend that much more time because it's kind of stale. Someone said no logic at work. Someone just wrote Trump opposed lockdowns the whole time. I could play clips of him in March and April. I'm sorry, May, 2 years later. I could play clips of him saying that Georgia shouldn't open up. Georgia's opening up too soon. That doesn't sound like somebody who wants to shatter the illusion of the lockdowns. It sounds like somebody who thinks that lockdowns are a good idea and is orchestrating them. If you want to tell yourself that Trump never supported lockdowns, you should go listen to somebody who like makes up things because that's not actual history. But like this I can't rock with this. I'm sorry, but it's like Chrissy said someone's paying you. Nate, Chrissy, say something that makes sense, okay? You get mad that I'm telling you that politicians you get paid that you like are literally getting paid by big pharma. I'm not getting bought off by anybody. People you like are. That's why you can't handle it. I didn't get $1 million from Pfizer to sell vaccines. Donald Trump got $1 million from Pfizer. I didn't put a pharmacy lobbyist at the head of human health services. Donald Trump did that. So who's getting paid? Me or the guy that you slobber over and you're too foolish to admit that maybe he's not who you thought he was? Say something that you disagree. I've articulated everything that I believe and why I believe it. You've said nothing. You just can't handle the truth. So you just think they got paid by somebody. No, your heroes are getting paid. Your heroes are getting lobbied. Your heroes are selling out. And I'm just the only one with the gonadas, balles, balloons to tell you about it. So say something that makes sense. What do you don't know what you disagree with. I'm just shattering your illusion. We are in a war. You're fighting the mirror though, Chrissy. You can't even articulate anything that makes sense. You must have got paid for telling you the truth. We're in a war. Who are you in a war with? You're in a fake war with yourself because you're listening to people who are fighting against you, or you're listening to people funneling money, power, and support to the people fighting you, and you wonder why you keep losing. It's like your greatest allies funneling weapons to your enemies, and you can't figure out why you keep losing. Someone said, as a Trump voter, I agree. It's just, I appreciate it, but people need to hear this stuff. It's become such an echo chamber. I'm getting tired. I'm getting a little after 3 hours. Someone said, I've seen the NH reps and how much they're getting paid by Pfizer. Big pharma lobbies politicians in both parties. I'm not revolutionary for telling you this. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Chrissy, that big pharma lobbies both politicians. I'm so sorry. I wish big pharma wasn't paying Trump. I wish you were right. I wish he was draining the swamp instead of filling it up. I wish in your head matched reality. I wish he was really not taking anyone else's money, but he is, Chrissy. I'm so sorry that big pharma lobbies politicians on both parties. I'm so sorry that the big pharma bought off the Democrats and the Republicans. I'm so sorry that Donald Trump was #2 on the pharma recipient list in 2020 behind Joe Biden. I'm so sorry that big pharma lobbied everybody in Georgia, both Democrats and both Republicans. I'm so sorry that Donald Trump took $1 million from Pfizer for his inauguration. I'm so sorry, Chrissy, that Trump put a pharmacy lobbyist at one of the most powerful health positions. I'm so sorry, Chrissy, that Bill Gates says that Donald Trump offered him a position in government. I'm so sorry, Chrissy, that Donald Trump sided with Big Pharma and sent an executive order in 2019 to empower them. I'm so sorry, Chrissy, that Donald Trump funded billions of dollars to them, AstraZeneca, Moderna. I'm so sorry that he bought 100 million doses from Pfizer. I'm so sorry that Big Pharma lobbied both parties. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that the guy that you thought was above it isn't above it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to be the one to tell you that. I'm here for you. I will pray for you. And I hope that one day you admit that and then we can move on. I'm sorry. I wish I wasn't the bearer of bad news. I wish I could sit here and lie and tell you that he has this magical wizard plan to go back in time and save you from pedophiles. I really wish that, that he was just doing this because he really believed in it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you. I'm sorry that you think I'm paid because I'm talking about people who are literally being paid. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that bothers you. I'm sorry that you don't want to hear that. I'm so sorry. Wait, you're telling me that the guy I thought wasn't getting paid is getting paid? Well, who paid you to say that? Nobody. If I got paid, I would sound like Donald Trump. You want to see anomalies sold out? It would just look at Donald Trump. That's what I would look at if I sold out. I'd be, Pfizer is the best company in the world. Johnson and Johnson, I saved the world from the Spanish flu. I'm the greatest. Everybody wants vaccines under me. Yeah, if I was president, there would be no protest because everybody would have wanted to get the vaccine. That's what I would sound like if I was sold out, Chrissy. I'm not trying to be mean, but that's what a sellout sounds like. It sounds like the guy that you don't want to hear. So someone said, I wish Trump was watching this live. By the way, everybody knows what I'm talking about. Like you think every influencer doesn't know what I'm talking about? It's not hard to say. Everybody knows it. Nobody wants to say it though, because politics is a game of money and power. So if you say what I'm saying, you're not going to get invited to Mar-a-Lago. If you say what I'm saying, you're not going to raise millions of dollars in the Republican Party because Trump is the big moneymaker. If you say I'm a Trump Republican, I'm a Trump endorsed me, you get all the money. So everybody who knows what I'm saying, they keep their mouth shut. It's smart. Marjorie Taylor Greene. You think Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't know what I'm talking about? Of course she does. But Trump helps her a lot, so she keeps her mouth shut. Understandable. I get it. I'm not in politics. I don't care. I'm not it's not high school for me. Oh, I'm a cool kid. I was always pretty cool. I wasn't the coolest, but I've been cool. I don't need to fit in politics. I don't care. I do music shows, I do my own thing. I go to the beach by myself. I don't need a bunch of friends. I got enough friends. I got family. I'm not looking to sit at the cool kids table. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. You think what I'm saying is like revolutionary, no one's thought of it before? All these influencers know what I'm talking about. In fact, some of them are like, yeah, I agree with you, but it's like it's not the time for me to say it right now. It's like, yeah, we know. It's not what I'm saying is not that crazy. Someone said, I can't, this is a great comment, Robbie. I can't see Pfizer giving Trump money considering that they stated that Trump has nothing to do with their shots and there was no Operation Warp Speed. The head of Pfizer laughed at the podium while standing next to Fauci. This is what a goofball Trump is. You can use DuckDuckGo or Google, whatever. Campaign donations are not a conspiracy theory or a mainstream media theory. If you get paid by Pfizer or Moderna and it's for your campaign, you have to put it public. It's public record. It has to be transparent. You're not allowed to take things unless it's like through a dark super PAC or something. But even that stuff's kind of traceable. So instead of living in fantasy land, I can't see Trump taking money from Pfizer. He did $1 million in 2016 from his inauguration. And Operation Warp Speed funded all the vaccine companies, but Operation Warp Speed didn't fund Pfizer. Pfizer got money from the German government, but here Trump bought 100 million doses from Pfizer. So technically, Operation Warp Speed, what Pfizer's talking about, Operation Warp Speed didn't directly give money to Pfizer, but when the US government buys 100 million doses of Pfizer, then all of a sudden it is kind of like a government thing. So they got their money in a different way. And I'll tell you this, probably the reason that Pfizer doesn't want to say that Trump did anything for him is because Moderna and the National Institute of Health, which is under the HHS, Fauci run or is big in the National Institute of Health. The National Institute of Health says it owns part of the Moderna patent. So part of the relationship between Moderna and the government is the fact that they literally work together and the government owns the patent on the Moderna vaccine. So if you Google NIH Moderna and patent, you'll find an Axios article from 2020 that says that the National Institute of Health actually owns a part of the Moderna vaccine. And if you look at articles from 2021, you'll find that Moderna doesn't want to share the money, so they're beefing with the government now, trying to say that the NIH doesn't own the Moderna patent when they probably do. So Pfizer owns their own stuff because instead of doing a deal with the NIH and losing part of their patent, I believe that they figured out a way to work with other governments to get the money, but then also at the same time, they just sold their product to America. So Just because they didn't get money, they still got bought. The government paid for their product with taxpayer money. So technically, the Pfizer CEO is right. He didn't get money from Operation Warp Speed. Operation Warp Speed funded, I believe, Johnson and Johnson, AstraZeneca, Moderna, a few other companies. I think Regeneron. And that's what. So technically, he's right. Trump's Operation Warp Speed did not fund Pfizer, but Trump did purchase Pfizer's, vaccines. But this is the games that they play. Who cares? At the end of the day, it's like, oh, I did it. No, I did it. No, I did it. No, you both did it. Congratulations. I don't like either of you. So he did get paid by Pfizer. He didn't fund them, but he bought their stuff, and it's all ego stuff. Trump wants to take credit. The Pfizer CEO wants to take credit. Moderna wants credit. The NIH wants credit. They all want money. It's a big clown show. They all hate each other, but secretly work together. So just look up Pfizer paying Trump. I mean, I'll look it up for you. And I just think it's a bad move personally. I mean, you don't have to agree with me, but I've thought Big Pharma has too much money and power and control for a long time. So the fact that Trump got money from Pfizer and then put a pharmacy lobbyist as the head of human health services, that's not good. You could make excuses for it, whatever. I don't care. But nothing's going to change if people just don't want to talk about it. It's like, oh, no, he didn't. It's like, yeah, he did. No, he didn't. Yeah, he did. No, he didn't. Yeah, he did. Okay, he did, but he had to. Okay, if he had to, then why would you expect anything to change? Nothing will change until people confront this. You can act like I'm the bad guy. It's just like nothing will change unless you confront it. Did Klaus Schwab pay me to do the best videos on his book and the best videos talking about why I believe the World Economic Forum is not good? Oh yeah, he paid me to expose this whole agenda. Oh yeah. No, it's called holding your own side accountable. It's like the only thing that's going to work. Things are never going to work if people just don't want to hear what happened and just keep letting it happen. Someone said his pardons at the end. Wow, they're horrible. Look at what Kushner's father did. It's terrible. Someone says she has the right to her opinion, though. Everyone has the right to their opinion. Everyone has the right to click the X button. But if your opinion is Pfizer didn't fund Trump because I don't want to hear it, that's not really an opinion. That's called ignorance. It's not. I don't have an opinion that maybe they funneled money to him. It's public information and public documents that they paid $1 million for his inauguration. So let me see. That's not an opinion. Let me see. Yeah. So corporations gave millions of dollars to Donald Trump's inauguration. I'm just going to read it. 2017 article, USA Today. And by the way, their source on this one, it's not like an anonymous source. It's federal records. All this stuff, if you don't believe this article, you can go directly to the federal records, which are all, you can't just raise money in politics and not keep accountability for it. They have all this information. All right. Ready? I'm going to read. Corporations with big interests in federal policy contribute millions to help underwrite President Trump's recent inauguration, federal records show. Pfizer, Dow Chemical, and Bank of America gave $1 million apiece to the inauguration committee, which helped raise private funds for the balls, receptions, parade, and other events celebrating Trump's January 20th swearing in. More than 24 companies have reportedly given a little more than $7 million through December 31st. A USA Today tally of recently filed lobbying reports show. Inaugural organizers have said they collected about $100 million for last month's event, a record sum that's nearly double the $53 million in private money that President Obama took for his inauguration. Obama did not accept corporate donations for the 2009 event, but did take corporate funds for his second inauguration in 2013. So Dow Chemical, Pfizer, and Bank of America gave money to Trump. And, I would have ignored that if Trump's presidency went better, but Trump really didn't stand up to Big Pharma. And I feel like probably maybe he struck a deal and put a lobbyist in a high power position. I don't know, but the lobbying money is not really debatable unless you can prove that that's not real somehow. Someone said a million is not much. Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. You don't get money for nothing. Like, dude, okay, say I'm a billionaire. I'm not, but if someone pays me $1 million, is that going to change my life as a billionaire? No, but you don't do a deal if you're not getting something. You think they just threw money at them like, here, whatever? Of course not, dude. No one does that. Like it's so naive to think, even though he's rich, if he's so rich, why doesn't he pay for it himself? Because he doesn't want to pay for it. Nobody wants to pay for it. Why did they give $1 million instead of $10,000? Why didn't they give $100,000? Because $1 million buys more power. If you give $1 million to somebody, you sit at the table with them. You know how much it costs to go to these events that with like Trump Jr. and these like political events, 10,000, 5,000. If you pay 10,000 or 5,000, you get to go to a political event with somebody famous. Why do you get to go? Why do people pay that money? Because they want to talk to these people, not just to take a picture. Business people write it off as a business expense because if you pay $5,000 to $10,000 to talk to somebody, you get to have a conversation with them, and you can get their phone number, and you can start a business deal, and that's why they do those $10,000 dinners. That's why people go to these fancy events to raise money. They're not just being nice and raising money for politicians. They're going because there's powerful people there and lobbyists there, and there's a lot of business being done there. So that's for $10,000. If you're doing $1 million, it's not a lot of money to a billionaire or a big campaign, but it's a lot more than $100,000. So the reason Pfizer and Bank of America they do it, it's called lobbying, guys. Like, why do I even have to explain this? I'm not. Oh, it's not that much. Then don't take it. I don't have $1 million. If I get $1 million from a company, you think it's no big deal. No, I wouldn't even do a deal for $1,000 with somebody if they're not. There's a give and a pull for everything. It's not like you think people are just giving me like $1 million for nothing. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist anywhere in the world. Nobody does that. Bank of America doesn't just give their money because they like you. Oh yeah, we love. They don't give a crap about Trump. Someone said they buy influence. Of course, of course. Someone says big pharma hates Trump. A lot of people hate Trump, but they successfully apparently used him and got their way. Big pharma likes Biden more. Big pharma likes Democrats more, but Trump, I would say, helped the vaccine industry more than anyone in modern history, besides maybe Bush and Reagan with the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act and the PrEP Act. So they hate him, but I mean, if why doesn't he? Why are they paying him then? I don't know. Have you ever given $1 million to somebody that you hate? Hey, I hate Trump, but I'm going to give him $1 million. Oh yeah, maybe they hate him, then they played him or something. I don't know, but it shouldn't be that complicated. It's just like say something, be like, has anybody ever asked Trump in an interview? Hey, here's a great question. Anybody that interviews Trump, hey, Trump, man, I like you a lot. Thank you so much. You're a great president. Thank you so much. You did a lot of good. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. I bought your gear. Thank you so much. I do have a question though, Trump. You got $1 million from Pfizer, Bank of America, Dow Chemicals. You raised millions of dollars from corporations for your inauguration. Did that buy, lobbying power with you? And is that possibly why you put a pharmacy lobbyist at the head of Human Health Services? Let him answer. Why did you put a pharmacy lobbyist at the head of Human Health Services if it's not for that? Because that seems like a bad idea, to put a literal pharmacy lobbyist at the head of the entire health department. That's not good. That's a real interview. That's the type of interview I would give. It's not because I'm paid out. I'm a real person. I'm not a cheerleader. I'm not like, ugh, I love you. Bill O'Reilly gives real interviews. Nobody else gives Trump a real interview. When's the last time he's had a real right-wing interview? Not a stupid left-wing interview, a real one. Bill O'Reilly, he's the only one who asks Trump real questions. Everybody else just gives him softballs, just like the left gives Biden softballs. Oh, your ice cream tastes good, doesn't it, Mr. Biden? It's like, it's not a real interview. Somebody's got, no, this never gets unveiled because nobody asks real questions. That's why I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to bring that to the party. Hey, instead of just slobbering over these people, why don't you ask them about this, this, this? Stu said you literally wrote a song called I Like Trump. So, yeah, I went to an event. I've got invited to the White House. I got to stand 40 feet away from Trump. Every reason for me to shut up. Oh, I can get things if I like Trump. I could go places. I could get invited to the White House. I could get donor money. Like, yeah, I don't care though. So I wrote a song called I Like Trump because I liked Trump at the time. It's not a life sentence. I didn't sign my soul to the devil because I made a song about Trump. I could have gotten articles written about me. They could have called me a Trump rapper. I never wanted to be known as that because that was never me. So when they came to me and said, who do you think wrote one of the first songs? I'm sure other people did. That was the first big Trump song. I could have made that my whole thing. I never wanted to. I turned down everything. Don't call me a Trump rapper. I wrote a song. I like the guy. I have other songs, but I didn't sign a life sentence. I worship Trump and I will never question him. That's not what the song was about. And the song still sounds good, but it's like you wrote a song, so you have to obsess over him. Like, what? That's not how the world works. Like, if you went to a Trump event, you're not allowed to ever disagree with him, even if he does the exact opposite of what you want to be done. You have to just bow down for the rest of your life. Like, who told you that? I don't. That it doesn't. I don't understand. I've been very transparent about everything I've done, and I don't even regret writing this song at the time because the song slaps, and that's how I felt. I was inspired by his attitude. I was inspired by the fact that he didn't give a fuck. I was inspired by him. He's an inspirational cat. He's talking trash, making deals. He doesn't care what people think, and now he's a shell of what he once was. And to be quite frank, I would be embarrassed if I were him. So yeah, I don't regret it at all. Someone said you made a name riding Trump's coattails. Like I said, my biggest Trump video ever was explaining exactly what I thought. So I mean, you could lie to yourself, you could say what you want. Trump was very good for everybody. Like, he was great for Democrat media, he was great for Republican media. Trump is such a magnet of a character that I would never say that he wasn't good for news. But here's what I will say. Um, I've had more views this year. I've got more money this year. I've done more this year on every category than I've done every year. And if you looked at my top 5 videos, none of them have anything to do with Trump. I talked about Bill Gates. I talked about Kerry Mullis. My biggest videos of this year, personally, have nothing to do with Trump. So a lot of Trump supporters, all they do is ride Trump's coattails. A lot of Trump haters, all they do is hate Trump. That's why CNN's ratings are down. That's why MSNBC's ratings are down. That's why a lot of conservatives have become somewhat irrelevant because they don't really know what to say anymore. That's not me. So you can look at my statistics. My life didn't implode when I stopped riding Trump's coattails because I never rode his coattails. I told the truth about him. And when the truth goes in his favor, I have no problem complimenting him. I have no problem looking up to him. I have no problem supporting him. When he becomes a vaccine salesman for Big Pharma, I'm not interested anymore. So you could say that that's what I did, even though it isn't. And the stats prove that. If all I did was ride Trump's coattails, why are you here? Why are you listening to me? Why? Imagine listening to someone for 3 hours that you don't like. I must be really cool. My top 5 videos of the year, I don't even know if I mentioned his name one time in all the videos. So he's definitely good for business when he's in. But for me, I don't run out of stuff to talk about. I'm not a one-trick pony. My one of my biggest videos is a book report. I don't think there's a lot of influencers who can do that. Have you ever done a book report on a book called How to Lie with Statistics, or a book report on COVID-19, The Great Reset, and got 1 million views on a book report? No one can do that. So I'm in my own lane. You can say what you want about me. You can lie about me. I do things that a lot of people couldn't do because I'm not short on content or opinions or perspectives or research. I have quite the excess. And most people like me, I would say at this point, because of my medical tyranny reporting that has been wildly accurate since 2020. I predicted all of this stuff in 2019. I have the receipts to prove it. I was one of the earliest people fighting the lockdowns. And the only reason I was able to do it was because I don't slobber over Trump. So when he started doing the wrong thing, I was reporting on it. And if you watch all my videos from March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and this is the difference. And this is why I don't care what you say, because time tells all. Time tells the real story. If you watch all my videos from March and April and May and June and July and August, watch them and they will make just as much sense today. They will be just as accurate today as they were in March, April, May, June, and July. So everything I said in those are try to find something that's out of place that doesn't still make sense today. Compare me to a Trump sycophant who told you that Trump was going to arrest the pedophiles and the lockdown was a good idea and Trump, blah, 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 blah. None of their videos make sense anymore. You go back to all my videos from 2017, 18, 19, they still make sense. So that's why your opinion doesn't matter, because time tells all. My content is timeless because I don't play around. I don't say stupid stuff. So your favorite Trump influencer, probably their videos from March until July don't even make sense anymore. I could share my video from 2020 and it makes just as much sense today as it did before. And all these people that you have people look up to, literally everything they said from March until like September don't even make sense, because they were building it all on like a false premise, false reporting, no sources, no evidence, just this is what I want to believe and this is how I feel. And it's like, okay, play your video from March. Compare me to any influencers that told you that Trump was going to arrest the pedos and that the Vatican was locked down and the lockdown was a good thing and Ellen DeGeneres is getting arrested. Yeah, go ahead. Play my videos from March, April, May, June, July, and play theirs. I'm not trying to be mean, but if the Pulitzers weren't a setup and a total fraud, I could win a Pulitzer off my reporting. And I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying I don't want one because it's usually for liars and people who lie about Russia collusion. But if it were a real award, I would selfishly give it to myself. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, say what you want. Watch my videos from last year. Tell me which one doesn't add up. In fact, I'm probably going to take the whole month off. I'll take the whole month off, and I'm just going to schedule on Facebook so I at least get some views. I'm going to schedule my videos. I have hundreds of videos that I could literally repost that make just as much sense today. So I'm probably won't see me for a while, and I'll probably just schedule all my videos from March, April, May, June, July for the whole month, and they'll get millions of views now because they make just as much sense as when I made them. Someone said all politicians are BS. Trump is self-paid. He's a successful businessman. He doesn't need contributions to get paid. Klaus Schwab is evil. I agree with you on the last part. I'm telling you, Trump did take a lot of money for his 2016 and his 2020 campaign. You are lying. It's a provable lie. I'm telling you, go look at federal records and you could see how much millions he took from Pfizer, Bank of America, Dow, how much money he took from Big Pharma in 2020. It's all public record. Trump got more donations from Big Pharma than every single politician in the country except for Joe Biden. So you're acting like a fool. You're saying, I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. Trump would never take money. He's a businessman. He's self-paid. No, I just told you that's not true. You're lying to yourself and you're lying to everybody else. You can say, well, I like him and he took money, but he's still better than everyone else. Sure, I agree with you. But to say that he's not taking any money is a lie. It's a provable lie. You are a liar, lie, not a truth teller, not an honest person, not a patriot, a liar. Okay? It's federal documents. It's all public record. When you run for office, you have to make this stuff transparent or you can't run. So it's not my opinion. It's federal records. This is how dumb some people are. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. It never happened. He would never take money. He did take money. He did take money. I'm not confused. It's real. How can you make fun of liberals for being delusional and you're this delusional? It's embarrassing. It's like cope with the fact that he did take money. He told you he wouldn't take money, but it's federal proven record that he did. Someone said, would I vote for him in 2024? In the primaries? Of course not. And the biggest problem with Trump over even someone that I don't like Ted Cruz, or people that I don't trust now like Rand Paul, is nobody likes Rand Paul and Ted Cruz enough to lie on their behalf. People love Donald Trump so much that you can literally show them. It's like brainwashing a socialist. You can literally show them the truth and they don't want to see it because they like Trump so much. It's dangerous. I'd rather have Ted Cruz that nobody likes so people would watch his every move like a hawk. Nobody likes Ted Cruz that much. Hey, let's stay on his ass. Let's watch what he does and let's make sure he does the right thing. Donald Trump, you can literally tell people the truth and tell them to look it up and they'll close their eyes and say, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to believe it. It must not be real. It's like, that's bad. That's really bad. That's not good for our party. That's not good for the future of this movement. It's not good for America. The fact that this guy can literally do anything and people will close their ears and close their eyes because they don't want to hear it, that's bad. I would rather have literally like anybody at this point because it's sad. Like, I like Trump, but if someone told me, hey, he took money from this person, it's like, I'm not going to hate him over it, but it's like, okay, he did take $1 million from Pfizer. Okay. People are like, he didn't do it. It's like, dude, that's not good. That's not a good trajectory for the movement. And to have some guy in office who's 80 years old who nobody wants to tell the truth about, that's bad. So someone said Matt Gaetz for president. I would prefer him over Trump, honestly. I don't. It's not like I think Matt Gaetz is gonna save my whole life, but he's younger. People will pay attention to him more and not just like give him a pass on everything. Anybody that is in Trump's camp, like under him, is, in my opinion, Cortez, the guy, that guy seems better. Bannon, and like everybody gets it except for the guy that they all follow somehow. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like I'm not going to talk about this that much more. I'm not going to stay this long always. I got a little time today, but it's like it's not debatable that he took $1 million from Pfizer for his inauguration. It's not debatable that he took $1 million from Bank of America for his inauguration. It's not debatable that he put a pharmacy lobbyist at the head of HHS. That happened. But it's like you can make excuses for it. I don't even care that much. But it's to be like, it didn't even happen. It's like, what? How are we going to accomplish anything? Someone said, so at what point did you stop liking Trump when you found out Big Pharma gave him money? Not even, actions speak all. So I gave him the full 4 years. I really started criticizing him heavily at certain points. The Syrian war, this was not like a new thing. When he tried to start a Syrian war temporarily, I didn't agree. And then he backed off and I gave him a compliment. I didn't agree with the anti-Semitism speech laws because they go against the Constitution and there's sneaky ways to add more speech laws. So I didn't agree with that. His omnibus bill of 2019 was trash and he was bragging about how great it was after he said he'd never signed a bill like that. I didn't agree with that. In 2020, when he extended the lockdown past Easter, I didn't agree with that. I never liked Operation Warp Speed. I knew it was going to lead to mandated vaccines, whether he said it was or not. I didn't agree with a lot of stuff he did in 2020, but at the same time, I realized that it was an election year. So I waited to be even heavily more critical of him to see what he did. And then by the time November through January came and he didn't do anything cool at the end of his thing, he didn't pardon really anybody cool except for Lil Wayne. He didn't really release anything or do anything cool. And then I waited another year and his leadership has been garbage. He's been running around Newsmax and Fox News and conservative radio telling people he thinks he saved 100 million lives by funneling money to Big Pharma. So when did I stop liking Trump? I don't know. I gave him 5 years, and over the last year, he just gets crappier and crappier. It's not like I just initially hated him because he got $1 million from Pfizer. I'm just saying now I'm putting all the pieces together in my head. He's not who I thought he was. He didn't come through. He cares about himself. He protects pharma more than he does his own supporters. I mean, what type of mental gymnastics do you have to do in your head to act like this guy's a good leader at this point? When did I not like him? I started not liking him a lot less in 2020. After all of 2021, I would say my support for him is at an all-time low because his leadership and his interviews and his agenda and every time he speaks is just pure garbage. He sells the vaccine harder than Bill Gates. All right, I got to go. Peace out.